Chapter 2809. The disruptive white sacred camel. At this moment, the divine mountain was covered in multicolored light. An ancient bell rang loudly, and wisps of purple haze sprinkled down like halos. Roar, roar, roar. The ancient divine beasts around the divine mountain all released angry roars. They didn't ascend the divine mountain. Some lay down, while others looked at the bamboo shoots on the divine mountain with grave expressions. They seemed to be enjoying the purple haze's light. Moreover, the originally barren divine mountain was now filled with a large amount of plants. There were all kinds of strange and colorful plants. Lin Ling couldn't help but open his mouth. What was that bamboo shoot? It actually made the divine mountain grow plants. Moreover, it was clear that the surrounding ancient divine beasts all came for that bamboo shoot. The universe's primal chaos was too big. The ancient legends, the universe's secrets, forget Lin Ling, even Li Xiaoyao of the past didn't understand. This light. Soon after, Lin Ling's eyes flickered, because he was also on top of the divine mountain. He discovered that the purple haze enveloping his entire body actually gave him a warm feeling. This purple haze was a bit out of the ordinary. My innate talent. Lin Ling released a cry of surprise. He finally discovered the purple haze's effect. It was actually increasing his innate talent. Roar. At this moment, the big green ox in the distance glared fiercely at Lin Ling, as if blaming Lin Ling for disturbing their peace. Seeing this, Lin Ling smiled awkwardly and immediately became silent. Moreover, he discovered that those ancient divine beasts were also transforming, all of them changing towards the ancient bloodline. Innate talent, whether for humans or divine beasts, is the foundation that determines whether one is strong or not. A person's innate talent also determines their upper limit. Lin Ling muttered to himself. Innate talent, that was the foundation of fighting above one's level. For those without innate talent, if they wanted to defeat their opponents, they could only rely on ultimate martial arts and the weapons in their hands. However, it couldn't be denied that powerful innate talent could achieve twice the result with half the effort. One had to understand that even though he was very strong among the 100 exceptional talents, these people's innate talents weren't any weaker than his. The reason he could sweep through the crowd was because of his ultimate martial arts and his most powerful trump card, the fusion of his three dantians. But now, Lin Ling's talent was increasing. His God-Devil body went from a first-grade God-Devil body to a second-grade God-Devil body, then to a third-grade God-Devil body. It was the same after time and space. Roar. Behind Lin Ling, a giant mouth appeared. It was the realm-swallowing beast. The primordial divine beast on the godly mountain glanced at Lin Ling with a hint of curiosity in its emotionless eyes. They did not expect the puny human to have the body of a realm-swallowing beast. Of course, they didn't pay much attention to it. In fact, they were even a little disdainful. Obviously, there were strong and weak realm-swallowing beasts. They were ancient godly beasts, so their bloodline was not much weaker than the realm-swallowing beasts. However, Lin Ling did not mind. He was a tiny ant to the ancient divine beasts, but he was an existence that couldn't be underestimated to many humans. Tisk, TSK. The realm-swallowing beast's body has reached the 5th stage. So has the flame of time and space. The world-swallowing beast can make me immune to many attacks. There are many side effects of swallowing. Plus, it can increase my power. Now, my power has reached 500,000 universe power. Lin Ling was ecstatic. 500,000 universe power. What kind of concept was that? In terms of power alone, it was comparable to 50 great realms. Even in Qingzhou, it was probably unique. This was not a human. It was a huge realm. The flame of time and space was even fiercer. The flame ancestor's aura was also much stronger. However, the limit of the flame of time and space was the peak godly body. It was not comparable to the time and space tablet. My power has increased again. If this continues, I'm afraid I can reach the peak. Lin Ling was looking forward to it. However, at that moment, a white light flashed from afar. Then, the entire godly mountain shook, making Lin Ling's steps unsteady. Then, he realized that the godly mountain was moving, and it was moving at an extremely fast speed. What is happening now? Lin Ling's eyes kept flashing. His soul power spread out, and he realized that under the godly mountain, a huge white camel appeared. Lin Ling could not see the four limbs of this camel. It was as if it was stepping on the ground of the universe. The hump on its body had become the godly mountain. Could it be that this white camel wanted to steal the godly mountain? That was indeed the case. The ancient divine beasts on the godly mountain were obviously enraged, and they were all roaring. That was because the bamboo shoots belonged to everyone, and the white sacred camel wanted to take them all for itself. In fact, even Lin Ling was cursing in his heart. This camel was too greedy. Roar! At that moment, the big green ox was emitting black demonic energy, and it turned into a huge ox head. The ox's eyes were flashing, and it suddenly howled. The terrifying shock wave made the white camel tremble, and the godly mountain was about to collapse. Demon Ox King. This big green ox has indeed transformed. Lin Ling was shocked. He looked at the one-legged white bird. The bird flew up and spewed out flames, burning the sacred camel. Those flames gave Lin Ling enormous pressure. His flame of time and space almost broke out of his body and was summoned away. Fortunately, the time and space divine steel suppressed everything. The other divine beasts also attacked one after another, causing the sky to fall and the earth to crack. If such an intense battle were to take place in Qingzhou, there would probably be countless casualties. Even if the Emperor Qin of Qingzhou was here, he might not be a match for these ancient divine beasts. Lin Ling's eyes were opened. He even hoped that the divine beasts would kill the sacred camel thief. This guy was really despicable. However, Lin Ling had underestimated the sacred camel. It had great endurance and blocked the attacks of the divine beasts. Moreover, it was running away at a speed that was beyond Lin Ling's imagination. Lin Ling hurriedly flew into the sky. After all, he was on the godly mountain, and he might be taken to the ends of the earth if he was not careful. Then, Lin Ling sighed helplessly. The godly mountain had disappeared from his sight, and the ancient divine beasts had also disappeared. If not for the white sacred camel, Lin Ling's talent would have reached the peak. What a pity. Of course, Lin Ling was not greedy. This kind of opportunity was hard to come by. It was Lin Ling's fortune to have encountered it. What's this? Suddenly, Lin Ling lowered his head. There was a sparkling light in the sky. He took a step and appeared in the light. Then, he realized that it was a blue seed. What was strange was that the seed was transparent, and he could see some mysterious runes in the seed. This should be something left behind by the godly mountain. Lin Ling said to himself. He grabbed the seed with his hand. What was strange was that the seed sprouted when he touched it. It was like a young vine that grew along Lin Ling's arm. Moreover, two tender green leaves swayed slightly, as if a child was waving at Lin Ling. It should be the purple haze on my body that made it grow. Lin Ling could not help but smile. He had absorbed the purple haze before, and there was still some left on his body. Now, the vine had benefited. Kunlun. Chapter 28:10. Victory and defeat had been decided. Kunlun. Lin Ling was curious. He touched the leaves of the vine with his left hand and said with a smile, "Then I'll call you little Kunlun." As if it understood Lin Ling's words, the leaves of the vine shook even more vigorously. Although Lin Ling didn't know what this vine was, it was left behind from the sacred mountain, so it must be extraordinary. After being delayed for so long, I still haven't gotten the Azure Emperor's jade seal. After that, Lin Ling didn't stop and flew back in the direction he came from. Along the way, he didn't encounter anything strange. Finally, in the sky, Lin Ling saw a floating boulder. On top of it was a square jade seal. It was simple and ancient, giving people a sense of history. This is the Azure Emperor's jade seal. Lin Ling landed on the boulder and looked up and down. However, no matter how he looked at it, the Azure Emperor's jade seal was very ordinary. After that, Lin Ling picked up the Azure Emperor's jade seal. At the same time, a huge whirlpool appeared on top of the boulder. It seemed to be the way out. After putting in so much effort, I finally got the Azure Emperor's jade seal. I don't know where this place is, but I hope I have the chance to come again. Looking at the space behind him, Lin Ling stepped into the whirlpool. At this moment, in the great Azure Divine Dynasty's ancient palace, everyone was still waiting. They looked at the statues around them and then at the huge whirlpool. Over there, exceptional talents walked out one after another. Each of them had a sad expression. Without a doubt, the exceptional talents who walked out had all failed. Although everyone knew that someone had obtained the Azure Emperor's jade seal and that it was beneficial to everyone, they knew that the person who obtained the Azure Emperor's jade seal was more important. The person who obtained the Azure Emperor's jade seal would benefit the most. They might even have a chance to become the Azure Emperor. Moreover, the magnates they belonged to would also be able to get a lot of benefits. Therefore, they were very curious about who had obtained the Azure Emperor's jade seal. They were also very nervous. However, the exceptional talents who walked out didn't have the Azure Emperor's jade seal. Therefore, they could only wait. I think it must be the 81st prince. In the silence, a voice floated out. It was the Azure Dragon King. He was obviously in a bad mood from waiting, so he took the initiative to encourage himself. Since the Azure Dragon King is so certain, why don't we make a bet? Bet with your life. It was by Xiaoyang of the White Tiger Divine Office from the Four-Ring City. Me. The Azure Dragon King clearly lacked confidence. He opened his mouth, but in the end, nothing came out. If you don't have confidence, then don't talk nonsense. Said by Xiaoyang mockingly. Such words undoubtedly made the Azure Dragon King very angry. He believed that Bai Xiaoyang was purposely trying to make him lose his dignity. However, even if he knew, he couldn't find the words to refute. This was because he wasn't sure if Lin Ling would win or if the 81st prince would obtain the Azure the Arch-Imperial Jade Seal. Someone has obtained the Azure Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal. It must be the 81st prince. At this time, large amounts of exceptional talents walked out again. They were Chen Mo, 3 Marks Heavenly Monarch, and others. Their faces were extremely excited, but when they saw the silent crowd, their minds immediately became stifled. Could it be that things had changed? 9th Prince, did the 81st Prince obtain the Azure Emperor's Jade Seal? The 3 Marks Heavenly Monarch whispered. It should be him. The 9th Prince looked at the huge whirlpool and said indifferently. However, the 3 Marks Heavenly Monarch could clearly sense that the 9th Prince's words carried a hint of worry. That sentence didn't sound very confident. Could it be Tantai Bingdai? The 3 Marks Heavenly Monarch probed. Maybe it's Lin Ling. The 9th Prince replied calmly. However, his words made the 3 Marks Heavenly Monarch and all the exceptional talents' hearts tremble. Could it be that a passerby was qualified to compete with the 81st Prince for glory? Just thinking about it was terrifying. Especially when they thought about how Lin Ling had killed Tian Wuzi, these exceptional talents were like cicadas in winter. They already regarded Lin Ling as an existence that couldn't be provoked. Even the exceptional talent from the left minister's residence, who originally wanted to complain about Lin Ling, didn't dare to do so now. A guy like Lin Ling should be left for these ancient heroes to deal with. Pa! At this time, footsteps sounded again, causing the hall to fall silent. Then, a haggard figure walked out. It was Tantai Bingdai. Seeing this, everyone let out a sigh of relief. Tantai Bingdai had indeed failed. Tantai Bingdai walked towards the imperial court and looked at the third prince. Sorry, I failed. Don't worry. Just try your best. All right. The third prince was still sitting among the geniuses. No one could see through his identity. His voice was calm. Clearly, he didn't blame Tantai Bingdai. Then who obtained the Lotus Emperor's imperial jade seal? Yes. Tantai Bingdai looked around and suddenly became nervous. Lin Ling and the 81st prince. The Lotus Emperor's imperial jade seal will only appear in their hands. The third prince calmly replied. Tantai Bingdai's beautiful eyes narrowed. Thinking about the youth on the 8th floor that she couldn't see through, her heart once again rippled. Then, she joined the crowd and looked at the whirlpool with anticipation. The atmosphere was silent. Everyone was very nervous. It was as if they were looking at the future Lotus Emperor. When the footsteps sounded again, everyone's eyes lit up. This time, it was the 81st prince. Did you succeed? An old voice sounded. An aged voice could be heard, as if it was eager to know the answer. In fact, everyone felt the same way. They even wanted to see the 81st prince raise his arm high and hold the Lotus Emperor's imperial jade seal in his hand. Unfortunately, everyone was going to be disappointed. He succeeded. Yes. These words floated out of the 81st Crown Prince's mouth. At this moment, the Blue Flame Army, Imperial Censor Dragon Court, and the Left Minister's residence all turned gloomy. They had lost the battle between the four magnates. As for the Imperial Court, they were all laughing. They were laughing very happily and excitedly. Chen Nan, Xian Linglong, Tantai Bingdai, Meng Lu, and the others were all the same. Their eyes were all locked on the whirlpool at this moment. They even forgot to breathe. Finally, the sound of footsteps could be heard from the whirlpool. A slender figure slowly walked out. When the slender figure appeared, the entire hall was so silent that even a pin drop could be heard. In fact, the entire Great Azure Divine Dynasty was the same. That figure swept his gaze across the crowd and seemed to be a little surprised that everyone was looking at him. However, he smiled slightly and flipped his right hand. An ancient jade seal appeared in front of everyone's eyes in a shocking manner. The Lotus Emperor's imperial jade seal. As they stared at the ancient imperial jade seal, everyone's gazes turned feverish. Moreover, a trace of fear appeared in their hearts. Lin Ling had really succeeded. A passerby. A person who was just the strongest generation not long ago. He was actually able to seize victory among exceptional talents that were as common as clouds. And his final opponent, the 81st prince, had also lost to this unknown youth. He really succeeded. Chapter 28:11. The 24 Emperor's Decrees. The main hall was still silent, but the news of Lin Ling obtaining the Azure Thearcha's imperial jade seal in 5-ring city spread like a snowball, enveloping the entire Great Azure Divine Dynasty. The Great Azure Divine Dynasty was moving for Lin Ling at this moment. The Azure Thearcha's imperial jade seal had appeared, which meant that the new Azure the Arch had appeared. He might be in Qingzhou. Lin Ling, Lin Ling, Lin Ling. The three magnates mumbled to themselves, as though they wanted to remember this name forever. As for the imperial court, the third prince and Tong Man smiled and said, Lin Ling, well done. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Lin Ling smiled and walked forward, handing the Azure Thearcha's imperial jade seal to Tong Man. Although this item was precious, it was useless to him. It couldn't even compare to the benefits he had obtained from the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Everyone woke up from their shock and looked at Tong Man open it. Someone spoke out, making Tong Man nod. His young and tender hands continuously waved about, producing resplendent golden symbols one after another. Finally, the Azure Thearcha's imperial jade seal swayed and the entire Great Azure Divine Dynasty was shaken. Bang! A crisp sound was heard and the Azure Thearcha's imperial jade seal shattered. Endless light scattered and drifted away like the wind. The imperial court wants 1/3 of the 24 emperor's decrees. At the same time, the third prince's voice floated out from the crowd. That's too much. You want 1/3 of the 24 emperor's decrees? That's equivalent to 8 of them. You want us to split the rest? An elder immediately retorted. That's right. I think we should split them equally. A middle-aged man dressed like a scholar from the left minister's residence also objected. The stage now obviously didn't belong to Lin Ling. He looked at the scene calmly and suddenly understood. The Azure Thearcha's imperial jade seal had shattered, which meant that the Azure the Arch had stepped down. The Azure Thearcha's imperial jade seal had turned into the 24 emperor's decrees, which meant that whoever had the 24 emperor's decrees would have a chance to become the Azure the Arch. The Azure the Arch, the divine emperor of Qingzhou. Just from what Lin Ling had seen at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, he knew that the Lotus Emperor had a secret that ordinary people didn't know. It was precisely because of this that the Azure the Arch was against others obtaining the Azure the Arch Jade Seal. However, this was a rule left behind by the immortal. Even if the Azure the Arch was against it, he would not dare to openly oppose it. Therefore, everyone in the world wanted to become Emperor Qing. However, the one with the greatest hope should be the one with the Son of Heaven's fate. There should be 24 of them and the imperial dynasty wanted 8 of them. Perhaps this was what these big shots were discussing. And that was indeed the case. Our imperial court's Lin Ling has obtained the Azure Emperor's imperial jade seal. According to the rules, we want 1/3 of the emperor's will. The third prince said again. This time, the other magnates didn't refute him. Many experts from the Blue Flame Army looked at Lin Ling with regret in their eyes. Because if Lin Ling was one of them, they would have taken advantage of him today. It was a pity that they had missed out on Lin Ling. As for the minister of the left's residence, everyone looked at Lin Ling angrily with murderous intent in their eyes. Even the imperial censor Longting felt the same way. Lin Ling had ruined their plans. Then let's split it according to the rules. Although the magnates were unwilling, they knew that there were many strong cultivators behind the scenes in the imperial court. The people present didn't represent everyone in the imperial court. Therefore, they could only accept their fate. One of the 24 emperors will definitely become the Emperor Qing. Therefore, the person with the emperor's will must be protected well. The third prince's voice floated out. He waved his right hand and a sparkling light shot out. It landed in the hands of the experts and turned into a piece of the imperial jade seal. There were 24 of these pieces and the imperial dynasty took 8 of them. Alright, the matter of the imperial jade seal is settled. However, there is one more thing that I need the imperial dynasty to give me an explanation. At this time, the scholar from the minister of the left's residence suddenly said. He looked at Lin Ling coldly. I heard that Lin Ling killed my descendant at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Therefore, he must give the minister of the left's residence an explanation. As soon as he said that, the eyes of all the exceptional talents flashed. As expected, the minister of the left's residence wanted to settle the score with Lin Ling. The person Lin Ling killed was no small matter. He was the descendant of the minister of the left's residence and not an ordinary exceptional talent. If it were any other magnates, they would also take action for the sake of their own descendant. At this time, everyone looked at Lin Ling. Some of them revealed gloating smiles. Minister of the left, what do you mean by this? In the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, life and death are up to fate. Can you blame Lin Ling for this? Tong Man immediately said. Although he didn't know what happened, he would definitely protect Lin Ling right now. Shut up. You don't have the right to talk to the minister of the left. The third prince does. However, before the scholarly middle-aged man said anything, an old man walked out from behind him and reprimanded him. This old man was not weak at all. He was a first-level martial immortal. 8th-level martial immortal, this was the most terrifying strength of the great Qing divine dynasty. Every single one of them was a hero of the 10,000 worlds. Their lifespans were endless and they lived as long as the sun and moon. This old man was the minister of the left's residence. His lifespan had almost reached the ancient era. Compared to him, Tong Man was indeed a junior. Tong Man's face instantly turned cold. He clearly knew this old man. The people around didn't say a word and just watched the show. They knew that the imperial dynasty would definitely step out for Lin Ling. But to what extent would they step out for Lin Ling? What would happen next would be revealed. Because if the minister of the left insisted on taking revenge for their bloodline, would the imperial dynasty still step in? Once the imperial dynasty stepped in, it would be an earth-shattering battle in the Qing province. The two giants would truly fight. Therefore, if Lin Ling was an ordinary person and didn't have much weight, the imperial dynasty might give up on Lin Ling. Lin Ling, I'll ask you a question. Answer yes or no. The old man walked forward and looked at Lin Ling indifferently. He said, "Did you kill Zhua Xiao from the minister of the left's residence?" His aura was overbearing and he wanted Lin Ling to answer. This time, the third prince's pride was very quiet. He didn't speak, so Tong Man naturally wouldn't speak either. Gazes began to fall on Lin Ling. Among them, Chen Nan, Tan Tai Bing Dai, and the others were worried for Lin Ling. Although they hadn't known each other for long, at least Lin Ling had won glory for the imperial dynasty. Even though us exceptional talents aren't allowed to kill each other, in the Copper Sparrow Terrace, killing because of competition is already an unwritten rule. Zhua Xiao should have killed quite a few exceptional talents in the Copper Sparrow Terrace, right? In that case, for those exceptional talents who died, could it be that their backers also want to get revenge? Lin Ling indifferently looked at the old man and calmly replied. Looking at him, he didn't seem to be nervous at all. Shut up. You only need to answer yes or no. Chapter 28:12. The Power of the Universe. Lin Ling saw that the four magnates were all there, so he thought that the third prince was waiting for Lin Ling to speak. As long as the reason was strong enough, the imperial court would not fear the left minister's residence. Who knew that the other party would be so overbearing? Speak. The elder roared angrily again, and his powerful aura suppressed Lin Ling. The surging power of the universe was extremely terrifying. Beside Lin Ling, the other exceptional talents all fell down, their faces pale. The power of the universe. This was a power even stronger than the power of chaos. The elder was obviously not a genius, but his ultimate martial arts were extremely powerful. Even geniuses with monstrous talent were not his match. Because, the elder's cultivation time made up for everything. Ha! However, in the face of the enormous power of the universe, Lin Ling laughed out loud instead. What a great left prime minister's residence. I thought that as the residence of a scholar, they would all understand the truth. However, this is just me deceiving myself. Zhua Xiao, I already spared him once, but he did not repent, and insisted on provoking me. In the end, he died, so Zhua Xiao was indeed killed by me. What do you think? Lin Ling's voice became loud and clear. Good, 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 as long as you admit it. The elder laughed, as if he was laughing from extreme anger. Behind him, the left minister closed his eyes slightly, as if he did not want to get involved in this matter. In reality, it was not that he did not want to get involved, but rather that he was waiting for the third prince to speak. If he spoke, then he could also step in. And now, his study companion could definitely suppress Lin Ling. Wait, Lin Ling is innocent in this matter. However, at this moment, a voice suddenly rang out, and that Zhua Hai walked out. I can testify that Lin Ling and my brother did have a grudge, but Lin Ling spared my brother once for my sake. However, my brother was not satisfied, so he attacked Lin Ling again, and in the end, he died in battle. In reality, many people saw this matter, and they can all testify. Zhua Hai looked at the exceptional talents. You're talking nonsense. However, the exceptional talents from the left minister's mansion all refuted Zhua Hai. It was obviously Zhua Xiao who found the exit to the 5th floor, but Lin Ling already hated him. So when Zhua Xiao was blocking the 10,000 swords, he despicably attacked Zhua Xiao. Senior brother Zhua Hai, you've been deceived. You weren't even on the 5th floor. How did you know all this? That's right, Zhua Xiao was your younger brother. Now that he's dead, instead of helping your own brother, you're helping an outsider. You're not of the left minister's bloodline. Zhua Hai gnashed his teeth in anger. Although he wasn't on the 5th floor and didn't know what was going on, he believed that Lin Ling wouldn't take the initiative to kill his brother. Because if Lin Ling really wanted to kill him, Lin Ling would have done it the first time they met. With Lin Ling's ability to kill Tian Wuzi, how could the two brothers stop Lin Ling? Therefore, in reality, he owed Lin Ling his life. You guys are the ones spouting nonsense. Of course, Chen Nan's group naturally retorted with red faces. These fellows were shameless enough. This was venomous slander. This was especially true for Chen Nan. He was so angry that his body was trembling because on the 5th floor, it was clearly Lin Ling who stopped all the swords, allowing the exceptional talents to reach the next floor. Now, it was Zhua Xiao who stopped the swords. Did these people not feel guilty at all for slandering others? In an instant, the exceptional talents from both sides began to curse. As for the other two magnates, they were slowly watching the show. As for the third prince and Tong Man, they were also silent. Clearly, with the 4 giants here, these experts wouldn't casually take action. Once they did, it would be an earth-shattering disaster. Moreover, it would also allow others to reap the benefits. All of you, shut up. At this time, the old man roared, causing the exceptional talents to bleed from their 7 orifices. Their faces turned pale and they didn't dare to speak anymore. The old man coldly looked at Lin Ling. No matter what excuse you have, you, Lin Ling, have killed Zhua Xiao. Therefore, you have to give our left minister's residence an explanation. Killing to pay with a life, this is the law of heaven and earth. He obviously didn't care about Lin Ling's reason. He only knew that the left minister's bloodline couldn't die for nothing. Otherwise, the left minister's residence would lose its prestige in the Great Azure Divine Dynasty. Third Prince, what do you think about this matter? The old man asked again. In the end, he still wanted to see the third prince's opinion. This was also what the left minister wanted to ask. You can deal with these small matters. The left minister and I will not let such trivial matters affect our relationship. The third prince's voice floated out from the crowd. At this time, the exceptional talents of the imperial court narrowed their eyes. Could it be that the third prince was going to abandon Lin Ling? One has to know that Lin Ling obtained the Azure Emperor's jade seal for the imperial court. Good, I was waiting for you to say that. The old man finally laughed loudly. Through the third prince's words, he knew that between offending the left minister's residence and abandoning Lin Ling, the imperial court chose to abandon Lin Ling. This was also the correct choice. Because if the imperial court didn't abandon Lin Ling, everyone could see that the left minister's residence wouldn't let this matter go. Of course, if the one who died this time was an ordinary exceptional talent, the left minister's residence wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. The left minister's bloodline was after all an extraordinary existence. Lin Ling, do you want to leave with me? Or do you want me to personally take action? The old man then walked out and looked at Lin Ling with contempt. If I take action, then you won't be able to avoid being tortured. The martial immortal realm is not something you can resist. I will give you 3 breaths of time to consider. As he spoke, he walked towards Lin Ling. Everyone's eyes flickered. The people of the imperial court frowned. They didn't understand why the third prince would burn the bridge after crossing the river. Lin Ling was now all alone. Many exceptional talents looked at Lin Ling and couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Lin Ling had convinced them wholeheartedly, but unfortunately, he was too arrogant. In the end, he still couldn't escape the fate of being killed by a giant. Luo Riyao and the others also had serious expressions. Right now, it seemed like they had to take action. However, they could stop the old man, but they couldn't stop the left minister. Maybe this is the first time you've heard my name. At this time, Lin Ling's voice finally floated out, causing the old man to frown. Who do you think you are? Do you think I've heard of your name? If you didn't obtain the Azure Emperor's Jade Seal today, you wouldn't be able to enter my eyes for the rest of your life. He felt that Lin Ling was simply joking. A mere ant like him was beneath his dignity. I know this is the first time you've heard of me. Then, let me tell you. I, Lin Ling, have practiced martial arts for my entire life and have never allowed myself to be captured. Lin Ling smiled and said word by word. Behind him, the Tyrant Song's sword shot out and formed a sea of swords above his head. Lin Ling, obviously, chose to fight. So arrogant. Chapter 28:13. So what if you're a martial immortal? I thought you were going to say something. So it's just bullshit. Have you figured it out? I am a martial immortal. My lifespan is 10 times, 100 times or even 1,000 times longer than yours. Are you a match for me? Fine, fine. If you choose to be captured by me, then you'll have to suffer a lot. After being stunned for a moment, the old man started laughing arrogantly. Lin Ling is only an exceptional talent. He is actually so arrogant. He simply doesn't know the difference between life and death. Martial immortal, have you heard of it? A cold voice came out from the old man's mouth again. His body disappeared and a huge palm grabbed towards Lin Ling. Surging realm energy exploded, causing the entire palace to sway. What terrifying strength! Those exceptional talents were all frightened. What they saw was not a palm but a universe. This is the powerful universe power. Let's attack. That old bastard clearly wants to kill Lin Ling. If Lin Ling dies, we won't be able to explain it to that person. Yeah, I won't be able to explain it to old Qi either. Luo Riyao and the others all prepared to attack. However, a mysterious power suddenly appeared. It was as if invisible ropes were binding their bodies, causing them to be unable to move. What's going on? Could it be the Lord Left Minister? No, it's the third prince. After being shocked, Luo Riyao and the others suddenly guessed something. The third prince did not allow them to attack. Perhaps, the third prince did not want to completely break off relations with the left minister's residence. Thus, he allowed them to capture Lin Ling. Damn it. After realizing this, Luo Riyao and the others were furious. Lin Ling had created such a meritorious service, yet he was treated like this in the end. Stinking brat, it's time to die. On the other side, the Azure Dragon King was clearly incomparably happy. He was looking forward to the next scene. The Marquis of Sovereign Heaven shook his head. No one knew what he was thinking. Compared to their indifference, Chen Nan and the others shouted loudly. They wanted to rush out and help Lin Ling. Unfortunately, they were sent flying by the old man's universe power. At this moment, Lin Ling clearly had no one to help him. Everyone thought that Lin Ling was dead for sure. However, they saw that Lin Ling was indeed arrogant. Even though he knew that he was no match for his opponent, he still erupted with all his strength. He turned the 10,000 swords into a giant sword and held it in Lin Ling's hand. Unfortunately, all of this was useless. Heh heh, puny little true god realm, I can obliterate you with one finger. That old man did not even put Lin Ling in his eyes. His huge palm mixed with billowing killing intent had already appeared in front of Lin Ling. Lin Ling's face was as calm as ever, as cold as a knife. Flames appeared around his body, and the demonic flame transformation also burst forth, causing the huge sword in his hand to emit billowing flames. In the end, he drew his sword. That sword seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. However, the old man did not care about it at all. He even wanted to crush Lin Ling's sword. Rumble. However, the reality was beyond imagination. That sword was overbearing, majestic, and sharp. It was mixed with the realm essence that surpassed the true god realm, and it also carried the ultimate martial path and enormous talent. Boom! With a single sword strike, the palm was split into two. The old man's eyes widened. What was going on? Martial immortal realm, so what? However, he heard a contemptuous voice. It was very cold. It was Lin Ling's voice. Then, the sword smashed down again. That's right, it smashed. That was because the realm essence was too powerful. Boom! With this smash, the old man was directly smashed into pieces. The entire palace also shattered, revealing the clear sky. A ray of sunlight shone down, but it caused the broken palace to become deathly silent. Martial immortal realm, so what? This sentence floated in everyone's mind. Lin Ling, he actually killed a martial immortal realm expert. Put on. The four magnates felt as if their hearts had been struck by lightning. Their breaths were like broken bellows, making rumbling sounds. Lin Ling was merely an exceptional talent. Even if he was the strongest exceptional talent, it was impossible for him to kill a martial immortal realm senior. Was this all a dream? In fact, even the Lord Left Minister's pupils contracted. Moreover, he was staring at Lin Ling's sword as if he wanted to see through everything about Lin Ling. No wonder Lin Ling was not afraid. It turned out that his servant had gone to capture Lin Ling. That was because his servant was courting death. Alright, let's forget about this matter. Right at that moment, the third prince of the proud sons of the Lord Left Minister spoke. This caused the eyes of the people from the Left Minister's residence to narrow. Let it go just like that. Lord Left Minister, don't you think so? The minister of the left narrowed his eyes. He suddenly remembered what the third prince had said. He and the third prince could not be bothered with such a small matter. If the minister of the left's page boy could catch Lin Ling, it would be the minister of the left's family's ability. What he meant was that if the Lord Left Minister did not do anything, the third prince would not do anything either. If the Lord Left Minister did, the third prince would accompany him. Go back. After thinking through this, the Lord Left Minister said coldly. The third prince's words meant that the imperial court would not abandon Lin Ling. If he really wanted to fight, the imperial court would accompany him. The people from the Left Minister's residence were still in disbelief. However, when they saw that the Lord Left Minister had already turned around and left, they could only follow him. Of course, they all turned around to look at Lin Ling. Their eyes were filled with shock. As for the Blue Flame Army in the Imperial Court's people, they frowned and left in the end. However, they were still shocked that Lin Ling could kill a martial immortal. Wasn't this Lin Ling the strongest first generation? Wasn't this Lin Ling a passerby? How did he grow to such a level unknowingly? Lin Ling, you're very powerful. I look forward to seeing you surpass me. When everyone left, the 81st prince walked up to Lin Ling and said calmly to Lin Ling. In fact, he was also shocked by Lin Ling's strength. Compared to the 9th level, Lin Ling's strength had increased again. Lin Ling slowly sheathed his sword and ignored him. The 81st prince smiled and said, I lost to you at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. However, you should know that in terms of strength, you're no match for me. I'm also the person you'll surpass in your life. He was one of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou. Naturally, he had the right to say that. That's what I thought at first. Later, I suddenly realized that the person I want to surpass is not you, but someone else. After Lin Ling sheathed his sword, he smiled and said. The 81st prince did not believe him. He smiled and said, "Who is that person?" He thought that Lin Ling was deliberately mystifying because surpassing the 9 heavens of Qingzhou was the dream of all geniuses. Li Xiaoyao. Lin Ling shrugged and suddenly said seriously. Li Xiaoyao. The 81st prince frowned. He realized that Lin Ling was not joking. His goal was to surpass Li Xiaoyao. However, who was this Li Xiaoyao? You'll know in the future. Chapter 28:14. Surpassing Li Xiaoyao. He didn't know that Li Xiaoyao was Lin Ling. Lin Ling's goal was to surpass Li Xiaoyao in his previous life. But now, his cultivation speed and achievements were obviously faster than Li Xiaoyao's in his previous life, and he had also gone further. However, as long as Lin Ling doesn't surpass Li Xiaoyao, he won't stop training. Li Xiaoyao. Li Xiaoyao. The 81st prince looked at Lin Ling and suddenly felt that this young man was very mysterious. Not long ago, Lin Ling was the strongest among the first generation on the 9th level. However, in such a short period of time, Lin Ling could defeat a martial immortal. Moreover, his cultivation level didn't increase. This meant that Lin Ling's talent had increased. As for how much, the 81st prince didn't see it clearly. He even regretted it. When Lin Ling clashed with the old man, he thought that Lin Ling would definitely lose. Therefore, he didn't look at Lin Ling's sword. This kid has the potential to become one of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou. The 81st prince's body exploded, causing the space to shatter into pieces like glass. He disappeared from the main hall. The people in the main hall left one after another. The 4 magnates were only shocked by Lin Ling's strength, but they weren't too moved. Their eyes were on the Son of Heaven's mandate. As for the left minister's residence, these experts were clearly unwilling. My lord, why should we be afraid of them? If they want to fight, let's fight. A scholar holding a paper fan looked at the left minister and said. Do you think that's the full strength of the imperial court? You're dreaming. There are many immortal legends in the imperial court. Moreover, the 3rd prince's background isn't small either. Moreover, they have an expert behind them. That's someone that even Emperor Qing is afraid of. The left minister said calmly. Even Emperor Qing is afraid of someone. The others were shocked. The left minister looked into the distance and said, if we really fight, both we and the imperial court will be at a disadvantage. Others can't wait for that. Others? Could it be the imperial censor dragon court and the blue flame army? No, it's the Azure Emperor. However, the minister of the left's last sentence made everyone's expression turn grave. Above the 9 heavens was the Azure Emperor. The Azure Supreme the Arch was eager for them to fight to the death. That way, a new Azure Supreme the Arch might not be born. On the other side, a large number of experts stepped on the clouds and left. The Azure Dragon King was clearly very unhappy because Lin Ling had escaped a calamity again. Moreover, Lin Ling was getting stronger and stronger, giving the Azure Dragon King a huge pressure. Sovereign Marquis, I saw you shake your head before. Could it be that you already knew that Lin Ling would win? The Azure Dragon King asked the Sovereign Marquis. That's right, the current Lin Ling is no longer the Lin Ling of the past. Not far away, the Sovereign Marquis replied with his hands behind his back. Before this, he had also thought that Lin Ling would die without a doubt. However, at the critical moment, he could see that Lin Ling was no longer the same as before. That sword strike was extraordinary. How did he defeat a martial immortal? The Azure Dragon King recalled that sword strike, but he still didn't feel that there was anything magical about it. His talent has increased. Moreover, that sword strike was very powerful. It was like the power generated by the collision of 50 worlds. In addition to the hidden world essence in his body, he could defeat a martial immortal of the first level. Of course, that was caused by the old man's carelessness. Otherwise, he wouldn't have died, the Sovereign Marquis explained. Chi. The Azure Dragon King immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. Although Lin Ling won by luck, Lin Ling was only the strongest generation not long ago. Such a result was too shocking. It seems that his wings are gradually growing stronger. The Azure Dragon King knew that Lin Ling had become a huge threat. Compared to this, you should pay attention to the Emperor's mandate. If you can obtain the Emperor's mandate, not to mention a mere Lin Ling, you can even walk unhindered in the Azure province. The Sovereign Marquis didn't care much about Lin Ling. Instead, he cared about the Emperor's mandate. Of course, there was also the missing Queen Qian-ji. After the Emperor's mandate was announced, the entire Great Azure Divine Dynasty was in an uproar. Countless cultivators wanted to obtain the Emperor's mandate because it was the best opportunity to rise to the heavens in one step. At this moment, in the main hall, the people from the imperial court had yet to leave. Those exceptional talents looked at Lin Ling with admiration. They knew that Lin Ling was no longer an exceptional talent. He was the strongest genius between the exceptional talents and the 9 heavens. He was just one step away from entering the ranks of the 9 heavens. And this was glory, this was pride. Thank you. Thank you. At this moment, Lin Ling came in front of the proud sun and smiled. He knew that although the third prince didn't seem to help him before, he was already helping him. What Lin Ling wanted to do was to kill that old man. Once that old man died, the left minister wouldn't dare to make a move. Because if he did, the imperial court would also make a move. I was just asked by someone. Thank you. The proud sun was silent for a moment. Then, a bell-like voice suddenly rang out, causing Lin Ling to be startled. He thought to himself, this third prince is a woman. However, only Lin Ling could hear this voice clearly. Then, the third prince said, "Come with me. There is someone who wants to see you." Hearing this, Lin Ling's smile became even wider. He knew who that person was. Whoosh! At this moment, someone suddenly carried the proud sun into the main hall. This proud sun was covered in white feathers and was extremely gorgeous. Moreover, one could tell that these feathers were rare treasures. When everyone saw Lin Ling enter the proud sun, they all licked their lips. Their eyes were filled with envy, but they also felt that Lin Ling deserved this title. Obviously, they also knew that Lin Ling was valued by the imperial court. After entering the proud sun, Lin Ling discovered that there was a world inside the proud sun. Dense spirit energy enveloped his entire body. The cultivation effect was twice as good as the outside world. Looking around the proud sun, there were white feathers floating around. They seemed to be the feathers of an immortal crane. As expected of a rich person. Lin Ling curled his lips. After sitting down cross-legged, he began to cultivate. Previously, when he fought against a martial immortal, he already had 60% confidence. The result did not disappoint him. 50 universes of power, in addition to the fusion of 3 Dantians, that power was indeed terrifying. However, that old man was obviously defeated because he was careless. If an expert with universal power fought seriously, it would be very difficult for Lin Ling to win. Martial immortal, martial immortal. Using martial arts to become an immortal. Such a cultivator already had a lifespan as long as the sun and moon. They were godlike existences in the myriad of worlds. They could extract the ancient power of the universe and strengthen themselves. The strong could even control the universe. Little Kunlun. Then, Lin Ling looked at the vine on his left arm and couldn't help but become more curious. On the surface, the vine looked very ordinary. However, Lin Ling faintly sensed a trace of universal power from the vine. If this vine were to grow, it would be very terrifying. Chapter 28:15. Tianzhou Grand Jie Jiang family. Lin Ling sensed his entire body and shook his head helplessly. His current cultivation realm could be said to be at its peak. Not only was his world essence enormous, it was also extremely pure. But regarding breaking through to the true God realm, he was still lacking in confidence. After entering the martial immortal realm, Lin Ling's martial dais was no longer the Azure province. Instead, it was the 9 provinces. "Sir, we're here." At this moment, a respectful voice rang out from outside the heaven's chosen disciple. Soon after, clamorous voices rose and fell. "Wow, who is this? To be able to become the pride of the immortal crane, this is a great honor." "I don't know. It must be a certain lord. There are no more than 10 geniuses in the great Azure divine dynasty who are qualified to be the 3rd prince. Could it be that granny?" The surrounding voices were mixed with astonishment. However, when the curtain of the proud Son of Heaven was pushed open, everyone was stunned. Because the person who appeared before them was a young man. Moreover, he was very young. Everyone's jaws dropped in disbelief. Lin Ling was the same. He thought that the 3rd prince had invited him to meet the grandmother, but who would have thought that he would meet a group of young people? Most importantly, these young people were obviously not geniuses from the 3 great academies. However, their strength was not weak either. Could it be a force that the 3rd prince is secretly cultivating? Lin Ling had some guesses. He looked around again. This place seemed to be a tranquil water village. There were green mountains and clear waters, and ancient lakes. In the distance, a huge waterfall fell from the sky, causing water to spray everywhere. It was beautiful. It was like a fairyland. "Brat, who are you?" While Lin Ling was looking around, a sharp voice rang out. A good-looking young man was looking at Lin Ling with disdain. "I am Lin Ling. Who are you?" Lin Ling didn't see the 3rd prince or Tong man, so he replied. "Lin Ling. I don't know him. We are from the Jiang family of the Tianzhou realm. We are led by the 3rd prince. We are his most capable generals." "That's right. Also, who brought you here?" Those young men spoke one after another, and their words were somewhat impolite. Lin Ling suddenly understood. Sure enough, these forces were secretly cultivated by the 3rd prince. However, the Jiang family of the Tianzhou realm? Could it be that the 3rd prince was not from Qingzhou, but from Tianzhou? It seemed that the 3rd prince was also someone with a story. Understood. Now move aside. I want to see the 3rd prince. After he nodded, Lin Ling walked forward with large strides. He didn't have the time to waste on these people because they didn't know each other, so there was no need for him, Lin Ling, to treat them courteously. Do you think you can meet the 3rd prince whenever you want to? Who do you think you are? Let me tell you, I've been here for 2,000 years, but I've only seen the 3rd prince 3 times. The first young man said disdainfully. This young man was called Jiang Yufeng, and he was extremely powerful. He was a peak true immortal realm expert. You're a genius from the 3 great academies, right? Let me tell you, we from the Jiang family of the great world just don't come out. Otherwise, do you think the 3 great academies could be so proud? Also, why did you come here on a red-crowned crane? Who gave you the right? The other young men spoke one after another. It was obvious that they hadn't come out for 1,000 years, as if they had been suppressed for a very, very long time. Obviously, they had also heard of the 3 great academies. However, in their opinion, the geniuses of the Jiang family of Tianzhou had not come out. Otherwise, those geniuses would have been beaten like dogs. What's so great about the third prince? To be honest, if it weren't for some other reason, I wouldn't even bother to see him. Lin Ling continued walking forward, not even looking at these young men. His words were true. He had come here to see Grandma Wendao. As for the third prince, he really wasn't familiar with him. However, as soon as he spoke, the young men around him fell silent. To them, the third prince was the bright moon in the sky. He was their goal and their pillar of support. However, this unfamiliar blue-robed young man looked at them with disdain. To them, this was a great humiliation. If you want to see the third prince, you'll have to ask me first. At first, Jiang Yufeng took a step forward and stood in front of Lin Ling, blocking him. However, Lin Ling shook his head. What's wrong? You want to fight? To tell you the truth, all of you combined might not be a match for me. These young men were all in the true immortal realm. Perhaps they were quite strong, but Lin Ling didn't think much of them. Huh, what arrogance. You're just trash from the 3 great academies. How dare you compare yourself to the Jiang family of the great world? However, these young men were not angry. Instead, they laughed loudly. This made Lin Ling shake his head. He looked up at the sky and pondered for a moment. Suddenly, he understood. The third prince had invited him here, but he hadn't shown himself. Instead, these young men were stopping him. This meant that the third prince wanted him to defeat these young men. As for the reason, it wasn't something Lin Ling could guess. However, Lin Ling knew very well that if he didn't do anything, he wouldn't be able to see the third prince. Tyrannical singing sword. When he thought of this, Lin Ling let out a low roar. An ocean of swords appeared and turned into a giant sword. He held it in his hand and slashed forward. Mantis blocking the chariot, arm of the great world. Among the crowd, a young man roared and rushed out. His left arm wriggled and a large number of vines appeared. They intertwined with each other and turned his arm into a giant arm. What a strange talent. Lin Ling's eyes flickered. He realized that the young man's talent seemed to be in his left arm. It must be some ancient bloodline. Unfortunately, no matter how ancient a bloodline it was, as long as it wasn't Wu Sheng, Lin Ling had nothing to fear when he met Lin Ling. Bam bam bam. The giant sword and the giant arm collided. The body of the sword smashed into the giant arm and broke it. Then, it swept the young man away like a siege car. This was when Lin Ling used the body of the sword. If he had used the blade, the young man would have been cut in half. You have some strength, but I'm an expert in the early stage of the earth spirit realm. Your arrogance has come to an end. Seeing this, the surrounding young men were shocked. But soon, someone else attacked. He stretched out his left arm. Rolling flames burned and turned into a giant flaming arm that looked like a dragon. It seems that the talents of the Jiang family are indeed in their arms. They are all good at the same thing. Lin Ling nodded slightly. The flame of time and space appeared on the giant sword and slashed out again. The young man's bloodline was extraordinary, but his talent was only a third-grade divine body. It was much weaker than Lin Ling's. Bam bam bam. The young man's flaming arm was broken again and the flames were extinguished. If you want to be valued by the third prince, you should at least be stronger. Now, get lost. Lin Ling waved his sword and pointed at the young man with the broken arm. The latter stood there in shock. He wanted to say something, but Lin Ling didn't give him the chance and swept his sword out. Bam bam bam. Chapter 28:16. Third Prince. Third Princess. At this time, the youths of the great world's Jiang family all had their jaws drop open. It had to be known that they had once secretly appeared in the world and fought against the geniuses of the 3 great academies. But, they had won more than they had lost. Thus, they had thought that the geniuses of the three great academies were only so. But now, an unfamiliar youth had appeared. His strength was incredible, and he had broken through the bloodline of the great world's Jiang family in just 2 sword strikes. You have some skill. You actually know how to play with fire. But in front of me, all fire is useless. Arm of annihilation. At this time, another youth floated out. What was strange was that his entire body seemed to flow like waves. Moreover, his arm was transparent, as if it were formed from wispy smoke. This smoke billowed out, turning into a giant palm that grabbed onto Lin Ling. Jiang Yuyun, well done. He, the third prince is definitely watching. You've made us all proud. Brat, you can't break it, right? The methods that our great world's Jiang family specializes in are things that you've never heard of in your life. The surrounding youths were immediately filled with pride. In truth, Lin Ling was a bit surprised. This was because the youth's giant arm was different. It was actually a giant arm formed from soul force. The talents of the great world's Jiang family were truly strange. Do you know why you lost? Seeing Lin Ling being grabbed by the smoky arm, the attacking Jiang Yuyun lightly said. Then, he shook his head. I see that you don't know why you lost. Brat, today I will teach you a lesson. In the 9 provinces, the Qin province is the weakest. There are far too many things that you don't understand. Today, I won't kill you. If you admit defeat, I will tell you the reason for your defeat. His words were like a reward, mocking Lin Ling for his narrow experience. It's just soul force. What's so great about it? But at this time, Lin Ling also spoke up. An even greater soul force gushed out, causing the smoky arm to tremble. Then, with a loud bang, it exploded. Today, I will also teach you a lesson. There are indeed many things that I don't understand, but I know far more than you. After using his soul force to shake off the giant palm, Lin Ling's sword smashed out once more. Rumble. Jiang Yuyun was still in a state of shock. He didn't understand how Lin Ling broke his ultimate technique, but that sword had already sent him flying. What? This fellow is proficient in the path of fire, and even his soul force is so powerful. Seeing this, everyone was dumbfounded. They were like ducks that had been grabbed by the neck. You are truly formidable, but you will never be able to defeat the great realm's Jiang family. At this time, the strongest youth, Jiang Yufeng, finally made his move. His move made the surrounding youths regain their confidence, and they all cheered. It was as if they had already won. Obviously, they were very reliant on Jiang Yufeng. Big brother Yufeng has made his move. Kid, you're regretting it now. At this moment, those with impatient tempers were shouting even louder. However, in their eyes, Lin Ling just stood there with his sword on his shoulder. He didn't make a move and instead looked at the crowd. Which one of you is Big Brother Yufeng? Hurry up and make your move. I want to see what your giant arm looks like. Obviously, Lin Ling was also curious. This was because the bloodline of the great realm's Jiang family had started with giant plant arms, followed by flames, and finally, even a giant arm of soul force. He wondered what the strongest one would be like. However, Lin Ling's words and expectant expression were like a resounding slap to the faces of these great realm's Jiang family geniuses. This was because they thought that since the strongest big brother Yufeng had made his move, Lin Ling would definitely treat it seriously. Who knew that not only was this guy not serious, but he was even more expectant than them? Had he figured out the situation? Lose. The power of 40 ancient kings. Boom. Rumble. Jiang Yufeng was clearly enraged. He had been arranged by his family to the Qin province to assist the third prince. He was already depressed, but now, a lowly commoner without a noble bloodline dared to look down on him. This was courting death. Ka ka ka. A terrifying thing happened. The bronze light bloomed, and a giant arm appeared before Lin Ling's eyes. This arm was formed from bronze, and its strength was extremely strong. Giant bronze arm. Boom! Lin Ling was even more curious. The giant arm grabbed at Lin Ling, but Lin Ling did not move. His soul force spread out, wanting to see how powerful this giant arm was. After a moment, Lin Ling finally smiled and said, "So its strength. The power of 40 ancient kings should be the power of 40 worlds." "Yes. Looks like you know a lot, but so what if you know? Can you break it? I don't believe that your sword path, flame path, and soul force are powerful, but your strength is also powerful. Let me tell you, I'm a genius who can break 10,000 techniques with one arm." Jiang Yufeng was secretly shocked, not understanding how Lin Ling could see through his strength. How unlucky. I'm also good at strength. However, just as he finished speaking, Lin Ling's sword smashed down. Rumble. This sword slashed through the bronze and smashed Jiang Yufeng, who was the strongest among them, into the ground. The power of 40 worlds against Lin Ling's power of 50 worlds was as weak as a bird. Silence. There was a deathly silence all around. Everyone's mouths were wide open. Was this young man omnipotent? Jiang family of a great world. Did your family send you to Qingzhou to be stupid? After Lin Ling defeated Jiang Yufeng, he immediately mocked and walked forward with his sword. This time, no one dared to stop him. Everyone looked at Lin Ling in horror, as if they were looking at a free and easy divine king. This is to tell you that there is always someone better than you. Although the Jiang family of a great world is famous, if you want to wash away the shame of your family, you need to work harder. With your current strength, you can't help at all. At this time, a clear voice sounded at the same time. Then, on top of a waterfall in the distance, a lotus flowed down the waterfall. A fairy-like woman stood there, wearing a blue robe. Under the light of the rising sun, her entire body seemed to be dyed with a layer of faint golden brilliance. She seemed to be otherworldly, her clothes fluttering as if she would fly away with the wind at any time. Most importantly, her solemn countenance gave others a feeling of the dignity of a person in a high position. Third Prince. Seeing this, all the young men knelt down with reverence on their faces. Do you know that there is always someone stronger than you? Don't think that your opponent's background is inferior to yours, and don't think that Qingzhou is weak. The true experts are often hidden among the people. The woman said again. We know our mistake. Everyone replied in unison. Lin Ling, on the other hand, smiled. This fairy-like woman must be the third prince. She was indeed more mysterious than he had imagined. Perhaps no one in Qingzhou would have thought that the third prince was actually the third princess. Lin Ling, why are you looking at me? The third prince saw Lin Ling smiling at her without saluting or speaking. She was instantly displeased. Chapter 28:17. Goodbye, Grandma Wendao. If you don't look at me, how do you know that I'm looking at you? Lin Ling shrugged. In truth, he was a bit unhappy because the third prince hadn't shown himself all this time. It turned out that he was using him to remind the geniuses of their clan. However, did he ask Lin Ling about this? Did they think that he, Lin Ling, was free labor? How dare you? Lin Ling's words floated out, and all the youths angrily shouted. They didn't expect Lin Ling to be so bold. Of course, the third prince was the same. She said coldly, I know you obtained the Azure Emperor's imperial jade seal and made a great contribution, but do you only know how to say that to me, the third prince? Then I'll change my words. I didn't expect the third prince to be a fairy-like beauty. It really surprised me. Lin Ling said again. You. The third prince gritted his teeth in anger. Previously, she had given Lin Ling a chance to make Lin Ling bow to her, but who knew that Lin Ling's words would be even more lawless. Okay, stop arguing. I know that you aren't the only one in charge of the imperial dynasty. Tell the person behind this to come out. However, Lin Ling remained fearless and smiled faintly. Little Li's nose is still like a dog's. Sure enough, after Lin Ling's voice, an aged voice finally resounded. Then, under everyone's gazes, 3 figures appeared on the distant mountain. One of them was the cloaked man, Su. The other was his big brother, Sakura. As for the old woman in the middle, she was Grandma Wendao. Huh, long time no see. Little Li, you're getting more and more handsome. After Grandma Wendao appeared, she immediately pounced on Lin Ling, just like in the rainforest sacred land. Then, she circled around Lin Ling, touching him here and there. Little Li. Lin Ling smiled bitterly. Little Li was Li Xiaoyao's nickname. In the whole world, only Grandma Wendao dared to call him that. Grandma, don't touch it. You really hid it from me. Lin Ling said gloomily. His expression made the previously cold third prince secretly laugh. It was as if he could see someone eating Lin Ling alive. His heart felt very carefree. I've missed you so much. What happened to the poem and the distance? Back then, you said that you would hold my hand and travel all over Huanyu. What happened to those promises? Grandma Wendao looked at Lin Ling like a resentful wife, which made Lin Ling smile even more bitterly. He knew that when this old lady saw him, she would definitely tease him. I didn't make those promises. Lin Ling replied helplessly. You didn't keep your word. Unexpectedly, Grandma Wendao was determined to tease Lin Ling. This made Lin Ling raise his hands in surrender. He pointed to the surroundings and said, many people are watching. I, Lin Ling, am alone. I'm not afraid of losing my dignity. But Grandma is the boss of the imperial court. If I lose my dignity, how can I lead them? With these words, the Wendao-seeking grandmother finally restrained herself. Lin Ling let out a sigh of relief inwardly. This old man was indeed terrifying. Big brother. Then, Lin Ling looked at Sakura and couldn't help but smile excitedly. Hee hee, second brother, I've been waiting for you in 5 Ring City. However, you really did live up to expectations. You actually got the Qing Emperor's Jade Seal. Huh, this really made our rainforest sacred land proud. Sakura came in front of Lin Ling and hammered Lin Ling's chest. Hee hee, I was just lucky. Facing his big brother, Lin Ling was obviously not like facing strangers. He was much more amiable as he rubbed the back of his head and smiled. This undoubtedly made the youths of the great world's Jiang family speechless. They thought that Lin Ling was a cold swordsman, but who knew that he could be so cute? Even the third prince had his eyes opened. Based on his understanding of Lin Ling, this young man was someone who feared nothing and was unruly. He even dared to kill the left minister's servant in front of him. But who knew that after meeting someone familiar, Lin Ling was more like an ordinary person? Little Li, you got the Qing Emperor's Jade Seal. This immortal treasure Fong is yours. This is the reward from the imperial court. Grandma Wendao handed over an ordinary stone, which made Lin Ling completely shocked. Immortal treasure Fong. What's that? Why is he being rewarded? The surrounding youths exclaimed. However, at that moment, the third prince was also incomparably shocked. He looked at Grandma Wendao in disbelief. In the end, the third prince said word by word, this is a treasure that can give a true god expert a 60% chance of entering the martial immortal realm. In the entire 9 provinces, only 3 such treasures have ever appeared. Sizzle. Hearing those words, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. One must know that if one wanted to enter the true god realm, even if they relied on treasures and medicinal pills, they could only increase the chances of breaking through by 50%. As for the martial immortal realm, it was even more difficult. Every single one of them was a martial immortal, and many cultivators would not even have the chance to touch that threshold in their entire lives. And now, a treasure that gave a 60% chance of entering the martial immortal realm, this treasure was priceless. The eyes of the youths of the great world's Jiang family all turned red. Third Prince, this is too unfair. Finally, someone said enviously. The third prince glanced at Grandma Wendao, then said coldly, "How is it unfair?" "Of course it's unfair. Firstly, he's not a member of the great world's Jiang family. Secondly, he's a newbie. He can't be compared to us. We've sacrificed our entire lives for the third prince. Thirdly, even if you want to reward him, it shouldn't be such a precious treasure." The youths all looked at the third prince. The third prince sneered, "Then, did you obtain the Azure Emperor's jade seal?" At that moment, the youths were speechless. "Perhaps, you'll say that you didn't go to the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Then, I gave you a chance earlier. Did any of you defeat him?" The youths looked at each other, then lowered their heads in the end. Their skills were inferior, so they had nothing to say. "Furthermore, I plan to give one of the 24 Emperor's decrees to Lin Ling," Grandma Wendao said again with an indifferent expression. "This." The youth's eyes turned even redder. The 24 Emperor's decrees were extremely important. It was said that the Emperor of the Azure Province would be born from the Emperor's decrees. However, such a precious item was now given to Lin Ling. Even Lin Ling was shocked. However, Grandma Wendao had already handed him a broken piece of jade. This piece of jade was a fragment of the Azure Emperor's jade seal. However, at that moment, the piece of jade was gray and did not have any luster. When more and more Emperor's decrees are stored, the piece of jade in your hand may become the Azure Emperor's jade seal. At that time, you can become the Azure Emperor. Grandma Wendao explained. "I see." Lin Ling nodded. This meant that the remaining 23 fragments could also become the Azure Emperor's jade seal. As for who had the remaining 23 fragments, that was not something Lin Ling could guess. But why is Grandma giving me such a precious treasure? Chapter 28:18. The only person he couldn't see through. Others who had obtained the jade seal fragment would have kept it well or even tried to snatch it away. However, Lin Ling didn't seem to care at all. In fact, Lin Ling really didn't care. Although he had the jade seal and seemed to be able to control the ancient power, this power didn't belong to him. Once the Qingzhou divine bell rang, the ancient power would have to be handed over. Therefore, Lin Ling really wasn't interested in this kind of power that couldn't be controlled. Moreover, he had a feeling that if he cultivated the Chaos Divine formula to its peak, the Azure Emperor would be no match for him. Because it's fun. Grandma Wendao looked at Lin Ling seriously and said word by word. Lin Ling was speechless. Grandma Wendao was truly an old woman. After chatting for a while, Grandma Wendao brought Lin Ling to the distant Green Mountain. Looking at Lin Ling, who was like a distinguished guest, the youths of the great world's Jiang family were jealous. They had cultivated here for more than 2,000 years to avenge the third prince. Unfortunately, they didn't receive such treatment. Comparisons were odious. White cranes danced on top of the green robe, and celestial music drifted in the air. Everyone sat down cross-legged, and a beautiful servant girl poured them fragrant tea. Lin Ling drank his tea and looked at Grandma Wendao. He had too many doubts about Grandma Wendao. "Don't rush. Tell me one by one." Grandma Wendao was also drinking tea, but her expression gradually became serious. "Actually, I hid in the rainforest sacred land for a reason. It was because I was hiding from someone. With Grandma Wendao's strength, you also have to hide from someone." When he heard that, Lin Ling was shocked. Although he didn't know how strong Grandma Wendao was, the cloaked man, Void, and even the imperial dynasty listened to her. From this, one could see how strong she was. But for such a strong person to hide from someone, who was that person? Lin Ling's eyes lit up. Little Li is smart. That's right, I'm hiding from him. Grandma Wen Dao noticed Lin Ling's gaze and immediately smiled. Because I know the secret he needs the most, so he's been looking for me. He's the Azure Emperor, right? Lin Ling said word by word. Then, he saw Grandma Wen Dao nodding slightly. This made him shake his head helplessly. Grandma Wen Dao's opponent was indeed terrifying. But why did Grandma Wen Dao look for me? Lin Ling asked again. He felt that Granny Wen Dao seemed to have always valued him. With Granny Wen Dao's strength and connections, what kind of genius could she not have? In fact, I didn't pay attention to you at first. I was just living in seclusion in the rainforest. Later, I met your predecessor and realized that you had an ability that no one else had. So, I've been paying attention to you. What? As soon as he said that, the third prince and the others' expressions changed drastically. 2. Of course. I'm just spouting nonsense. However, just as everyone was surprised, Grandma Wen Dao suddenly laughed out loud, causing everyone's forehead to draw black lines. They were also used to Grandma Wen Dao's frivolous attitude. Lin Ling smiled faintly. He knew that Grandma Wen Dao seemed to be joking. In fact, it was hard to tell if she was telling the truth or not. However, was the end of the Chaos Divine formula? In his previous life, Li Xiaoyao didn't cultivate the Chaos Divine formula to its peak. Therefore, Lin Ling wasn't sure. But he was sure that the Chaos Divine formula was the only cultivation technique in the universe. Since the birth of the 9 great Dantians, there had never been a cultivation technique that could defy the heavens. Alright, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about the Imperial Court. The third prince and I have the same goal, which is to kill the Azure Emperor. The third prince's mother was the imperial concubine, but she was killed by the Azure Emperor in the end. Most importantly, the third prince is from the Jiang family in the Tianzhou Great World. This family has a strong background. They can't swallow this humiliation, so they have been trying to wash it away. Grandma Wen Dao said again. Lin Ling looked at the third prince. He didn't expect the third prince's mother to have such a strong background. Therefore, we are on the same side now. Moreover, the third prince has also received a Son of Heaven's mandate. If he becomes the Azure Emperor and controls the ancient power, he will definitely be able to kill the Azure Emperor. Of course, our imperial court has 8 Son of Heaven's mandates. The other 6 have also been given to the corresponding people. At a certain time, you will know each other. For now, it's better to keep it a secret. Everything is for everyone's safety. Grandma Wen Dao kept talking, which made the third prince and Lin Ling nod. Grandma Wen Dao was telling them that they shouldn't set each other up. In the end, everyone talked for a long time. Lin Ling thought about how he had spent a long time in Five Ring City and was worried about Yu Yu and the others, so he bid farewell and left. As for Sakura, he still stayed by Grandma Wen Dao's side to cultivate. Before Lin Ling left, he reminded Lin Ling. After all, Lin Ling was a popular person in Qingzhou. There were many people who wanted to kill him. Moreover, Lin Ling had the Son of Heaven's mandate. This must be kept a secret. Even falling flowers, flowing water, and the others couldn't tell them. Lin Ling was well aware of this. Then, Lin Ling bid farewell and left. This little Li is a real man. If ordinary people were in his situation, they would wish to never leave the imperial court and only come out when they are strong enough. But he is a wild horse. He can't be trapped. Grandma Wen Dao looked into the distance and said. Yeah, I thought he would stay in the imperial court. The third prince nodded and said. Now, there were many people who wanted to kill Lin Ling, but Lin Ling was still arrogant. He would rather roam the world alone than hide in the imperial court. Oh right, third prince, do you want a master? Suddenly, Grandma Wendao looked at the third prince and asked. The third prince nodded immediately. If Grandma Wendao could become his master, it would be his great honor. Hee, looks like I have another junior sister. Sakura couldn't help but laugh. He was Grandma Wendao's disciple. So you agree? Okay, I will introduce a master to you. Grandma Wendao drank her tea and smiled. The third prince's eyes narrowed. Grandma Wendao was not his master. He couldn't help but ask, then which senior is it? Lin Ling. Grandma Wendao blew on the teacup and said softly. The mountaintop was dead silent. Sakura was stunned. The cloaked man was dumbfounded. The third prince was dumbfounded. Lin Ling's cultivation was lower than the third prince. He was going to be the third prince's master. This must be a joke. Chapter 28:19. Leave. This. The third prince's mouth was agape. Although he felt that Grandma Wendao wouldn't lie to him about such an important question, he still subconsciously believed that it was impossible. Okay, I'll listen to Grandma Wendao. The third prince immediately laughed. However, Grandma Wendao could clearly tell that the third prince did not care about her words. He would not take Lin Ling as his master. This caused Grandma Wendao to sigh softly in her heart. At this moment, Lin Ling had left Five Ring City and was heading towards the rainforest market. Along the way, he sighed in his heart. This time, he had used up quite a bit of time. He wondered how Yu and the others were doing. However, Lin Ling was in an extremely good mood. He looked at the magnificent and sacred fifth city behind him and knew that he had gained a firm foothold in the most powerful place in Qingzhou. Moreover, Lin Ling also knew that many people were secretly paying attention to him and harboring hostility. However, those people didn't dare to act rashly. Unless the magnates agreed to it personally, they would not dare to make a move. The Great Azure Divine Dynasty is bigger than I thought. However, other than the Fourth Ring City and the Fifth Ring City, I don't fear anyone from the other cities. Lin Ling walked past the Fifth Ring City and arrived at the Fourth Ring City. Looking at the bustling streets, the smile on his face grew wider. This feeling of soaring through the heavens and earth was pretty good. There were martial artists walking on the streets from time to time, but none of them recognized Lin Ling. Qing province was too big. Although Lin Ling's reputation was not weak, not everyone knew who he was. So this is the Four Ring City. TSK. It's bigger than I imagined. Don't underestimate this place. Behind the prosperity, countless bones have been buried under the ancient city. That's right. Only true experts can move freely in this place. A few newcomers couldn't help but whisper when they arrived at Four Ring City. This made Lin Ling smile. This was the same as him back then. Furthermore, when they sensed Lin Ling's gaze, the young rookies immediately narrowed their eyes and revealed smiles. Senior. They took the initiative to greet him. Lin Ling, on the other hand, nodded slightly and strode away. He had the demeanor of an expert. That young man seems to be the same age as us, but he is very calm in Fourth Ring City. I think he is not someone to be underestimated. Yeah, I really envy him. Those rookies weren't fools. Although they didn't know Lin Ling's strength, they could tell that Lin Ling's every move was calm and composed, so they guessed that Lin Ling's background wasn't small. Lin Ling has returned. Let's go back and inform the manor head. In Sihuan City, some people recognized Lin Ling and then mysteriously disappeared into the streets. Of course, there were also some older martial artists. They coldly looked at Lin Ling, but in the end they didn't dare to act rashly. They were from the Azure Dragon Manor. As expected of Lin Ling. Back then, he killed the Azure Dragon King's son. Now that they see Lin Ling, the Azure Dragon Manor doesn't dare to kill him. At the gate of a city, an old man also stared at Lin Ling, who was leaving, and said to the people from the Azure Dragon Manor. I heard from the eldest miss that Lin Ling has obtained the Azure Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal. TSK, as expected of a young talent. Go back and inform the manor head. I think the manor head also wants to know Lin Ling. Look, the people from the White Tiger Manor also went back to inform the manor head. We can't be slow. Yes. The old man left with a few people. Lin Ling didn't know that the 4 strongest divine mansions were restless because of him. At this moment, he had already arrived at Second Ring City and was about to return to the Yulin City when his eyes suddenly lit up. That was because he saw a familiar face. He didn't expect that person to also come to Qingzhou. Moreover, she seemed to be going to the 3 great academies. In the past, she once rejected my help and said that she wanted to comprehend the boundary origin seed herself. Now, she has done it. Looking at the stubborn woman, Lin Ling felt very guilty. That woman was Lu Susu. Lin Ling had known many women in his life, but not many had left a deep impression on him. Only Yu Yu and a few others had left a deep impression on him. However, Lu Susu was also one of them. When he first met Lu Susu, Lin Ling felt that she was very beautiful, feminine, and enchanting. However, Lin Ling had restrained himself a lot at that time. Therefore, although he had interacted with Lu Susu a lot, he still subconsciously rejected her. However, when he returned home the last time, Yu Munyun told him that Lu Susu had been waiting for him. Although Lu Susu had taken the initiative to leave him, Yu Munyun had also said that Lu Susu's heart could no longer hold anyone else. After hearing the news, Lin Ling's heart ached. He had to admit that Lin Ling was indeed a little selfish. He had only thought about the problem from his own point of view. He had never experienced Lu Susu's feelings. Therefore, Lin Ling had begun to accept Lu Susu. She seems to want to become a genius of the 3 great academies. That should be Heavenly Saint Academy. Lin Ling's soul power was extremely powerful. Although he was not close, he could still see everything clearly. Then, he headed towards Heavenly Saint Academy. The 3 great academies seemed to have reached their peak. That was because they had relaxed the conditions for recruiting disciples. More importantly, over the years, geniuses were like carps crossing the river, and their names had shaken Qingzhou. In particular, Lin Ling had risen like a comet. This made the old monsters in the academies realize that a true genius did not necessarily have a good background and talent. Even if their background was ordinary, they still had the chance to create miracles. This also caused the nearby area to be bustling with noise and excitement. A large number of young people gathered. There were both men and women. The men were otherworldly and indifferent, while the women were like fairies. For a moment, it formed a beautiful scene. This is Heavenly Saint Academy. It's so big. Yeah, I've heard of Heavenly Saint Academy in Qingzhou. I never thought that I would have the chance to become a genius of the academy. TSK, so many people. Those men are so handsome. Voices could be heard from time to time. In the crowd, a tall woman in a purple robe stood there. Her beautiful eyes were looking at the ancient Heavenly Saint Academy. For a moment, the surrounding young people's eyes were burning with passion. That woman was very enchanting and charming. Top quality. She should be in the top 10 of this year's recruitment. Yeah, us senior brothers are in luck. I hope she joins Heavenly Saint Academy quickly. Such a beauty can't be snatched away by the other 2 academies. The geniuses of the other academies licked their lips and said. Cultivation was boring. Although they were already used to it, if there was a beautiful woman accompanying them, no one would reject it. For a moment, the purple-robed woman's surroundings became empty. She was like a crane in a flock of chickens. However, she was obviously used to it, so she continued to look at Heavenly Saint Academy. Junior sister, are you here to learn martial arts in Heavenly Saint Academy? Now that Heavenly Saint Academy has relaxed the conditions, as long as you achieve a few goals, you can directly become the fourth generation of the Academy. At this moment, a gentle voice rang out. Then, a refined young man walked out with his hands behind his back. It's senior brother Tu Tsuxing. Chapter 28-20. Her boyfriend is me. It seems that Senior Tu has taken a liking to that woman with a hot figure. As expected of Senior Brother Tu's foresight. However, that woman seems to be somewhat extraordinary. I'm afraid she won't take the bait so easily. Do you know who Senior Brother Tu is? He's a member of the Academy's generation. How can he fail? As for some of the girls, they were a little jealous of the purple-robed girl, because being noticed as soon as they arrived at the Heavenly Saint Academy was not a simple matter. Thank you, but I'm here to find someone. However, the woman shook her head and frowned. Damn it. I forgot to ask which academy that bastard is in. I only know that he's in the Martial God Barracks, but I can't go there at all. She was Lu Susu. She was obviously here to look for Lin Ling, because according to the agreement she had with Lin Ling last time, if she could comprehend the Jia Yuan seed, then she could personally come and find Lin Ling. And now, she had done it. Therefore, she came here with pride. She wanted to show Lin Ling how powerful she was. However, she had forgotten which academy Lin Ling was in. Bastard! Are you scolding me? However, the refined young man clearly misunderstood Lu Susu's words. He was from the first generation of the Heavenly Saint Institute. He took the initiative to invite this girl, but was rejected in the end. He was very unhappy. Moreover, he was able to notice the strange gazes from the surroundings. So, he couldn't allow his junior brothers to laugh at him. I'm sorry, the bastard wasn't talking about you, but another person. Lu Susu hurriedly bowed. After thinking for a while, she said, that person is my boyfriend. She was called a profiteer by Lin Ling, so naturally, she was also a shrewd person, so she guessed the young man's intention. Therefore, she wanted to use the word boyfriend to reject the young man. In this way, he had given the young man enough face. What? She's taken. There's no justice in this. The surrounding youths immediately let out grievous cries. They came from a myriad of realms and were the proud sons of heaven of their respective hometowns. They had seen countless beauties, but none of them were as moving as this purple-robed woman. However, this unforgettable beauty already had a boyfriend. Who the hell is this guy? Who is it? You'd better show yourself. I swear I won't touch you. Even the third and second generation of the Heavenly Saint Institute were furious. Lu Susu, on the other hand, was slightly stunned. She did not expect the crowd to react so strongly. However, Tu Tsuxing, who was standing in front of her, was even more displeased. He, a dignified first young master, had personally gone out, but had actually returned in failure. Junior sister, you may have made a promise to someone else. But it doesn't matter. I don't care about your past. I only care about your future. You can leave your boyfriend and follow me from now on. You can walk freely in Second Ring City. Tukushing didn't believe that he couldn't win the beauty's heart. Thank you, but I really don't need it. Lu Susu waved her hand. It seems that you don't know how powerful I am. Forget it, let your boyfriend do it. I will make him feel inferior. Tukushing almost wanted to use force, but there were too many people around. If he used force, he would obviously lose even more face. Therefore, he planned to use his qualifications to change the beauty's mind. Your boyfriend is a genius from the 3 big academies. Or first. Tu Tsuxing said indifferently. It doesn't matter if he's first. I'm in the top 40 of the first generation of the Heavenly Saint Institute. If he's a man, he'd better come out and compete with me. Well done, Senior 2. The geniuses cheered when they saw Tu Tsuxing showing off his results. As for the geniuses who had participated in the disciple selection, they were surprised. That senior brother was a first. He's really amazing. I don't know. Lu Susu replied quickly. She didn't know how Lin Ling was doing in Qingzhou. Don't be surprised. Let me continue. What's his background? I'll tell you. I'm the third young master of the Tu family in Threering City. My elder brother is a first. Tu Tsuxing said. After saying that, he stuck out his chest proudly. I've been to the 4 divine residences in Threering City and visited them. As soon as he finished speaking, a large number of gasps could be heard from the surroundings. Threering City was a place they would never have the chance to visit in their lifetime. Moreover, Tuku Star was from Sanhuan City. That was a true sign of wealth and wealth. I'm so jealous of her. Some girls looked at Lu Susu with envy. That was because a man had announced his background in public for her. It was extremely rare for a vain girl to do that. I'm really sorry about that. Lu Susu smiled apologetically. She knew that she had been targeted by a powerful young master. I'm sorry. However, Tu Tsuxing became even angrier. He pointed at Lu Susu and said, I can tell you that if I don't say anything, no one in the 3 academies will dare to recruit you as a disciple. Qingzhou is the dream place of all geniuses. However, I can make you lose your dream. Domineering. That sentence was filled with domineering aura. The crowd's breathing slowed. They didn't think that Tu Tsuxing was ugly. Instead, they admired him even more. He was a real genius when he said such bold words to woo a girl. You. Lu Susu didn't expect him to go all out. Perhaps she didn't know that Tu Tsuxing had been rejected in public. His dignity had been humiliated, so he went all out. I don't believe that you have the final say in the 3 academies. Lu Susu, who had been speaking humbly, couldn't hold it in any longer. You can go ahead and try. Call your boyfriend along. Moreover, I'll be waiting for you here. I'll see how you'll be rejected. Tu Tsuxing put his hands behind his back and said, Junior sister, accept reality. I'm afraid that your boyfriend has also abandoned you. In Qingzhou, strength is everything. If he was chosen by a young lady from a powerful family, he would have already become their son-in-law. The pledge of eternal love in the past is just a joke. You don't have to say anything. If Qingzhou doesn't want me, I'll leave. I believe in my boyfriend. Humph. Lu Susu snorted and turned to leave. Ask your boyfriend to come out. Tu Tsuxing was even angrier. She was simply a silly girl. However, the more she acted like this, the more his heart ached. Obviously, it was rare to see such an infatuated girl. Unfortunately, she didn't belong to him, which made him even more unwilling. I can see that you came to Qingzhou for him. However, you're being watched by so many people, but he doesn't dare to stand up for you. Is he still a man? Tu Tsuxing said again. I won't allow you to speak ill of him. Stop. Hearing this, Lu Susu's slender legs stopped, and she looked at Tu Tsuxing with her eyebrows raised. She said coldly, he promised me, and I promised him. So, even if he is a beggar in Qingzhou, I will not leave him. Stop. Outside the Heavenly Saint Academy, there was even more silence. No one had expected this sexy and beautiful girl to be so stubborn and infatuated. Who is your boyfriend? Tuku Xing finally roared. Chapter 28-21. Disciple Recruitment. An indifferent voice suddenly sounded. Then, the crowd squirmed, and a young man in a blue and white robe strode over. The Heavenly Saint Institute was in an uproar. Everyone looked at the young man. Bang! Some of the geniuses who were consumed by jealousy even secretly attacked the young man. Unfortunately, with a single kick from the youth, everyone who stood in his way was sent flying. Just like that, he walked over domineeringly. "I'm her boyfriend." "Yes." A soft voice floated out at the same time, causing a smile to appear on Lu Susu's delicate face. She stared at the young man with curiosity and excitement. She had not seen him for many years. However, this guy was still as arrogant as ever. The words, "I'm her boyfriend," were really domineering. However, she had been waiting for this sentence for many years. This was because this was the first time Lin Ling had acknowledged her identity as Lu Susu in front of everyone. "Idiot, go. Go." Lu Susu was worried when she thought of Tu Chu Xing's background. Women were like this. When they fell in love with someone, the first thing they thought of was not themselves, but the person they loved. "You're the idiot. Who asked you to come to the Heavenly Saint Institute to find me?" "Did I say I was in the Heavenly Saint Institute?" "Yes." Seeing this, Lin Ling was touched. "I don't care what institute you're in. Now, go. These people are all xenophobic. That guy has a terrifying background." Lu Susu whispered. However, Lin Ling smiled and did not answer her. Instead, he came to her and hugged her tightly. With this hug, Lu Susu felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She went limp and couldn't muster up any strength. "Lin Ling, don't. Too many people are watching." Lu Susu's voice was gentle. However, before she could finish her words, a hot kiss landed on her lips. "They're watching. That's even better. This proves that Lu Susu is my woman. How can I not acknowledge my own woman?" "Yes." Lu Susu's firm voice rang in her heart. Her eyes were moist. The outside of the Heavenly Saint Institute was silent. All the geniuses had their mouths wide open. That guy is crazy. He clearly knew that they were attracted to the goddess, but in the end, he came to pick the flower in public. Was he telling them that the sexy and beautiful woman belonged to him? Of course, Tu Chu Xing was the angriest. Rebellion. Absolutely rebellion. How dare someone steal his woman in front of him? Some good-looking girls covered their mouths. Tu Chu Xing was crazy for love, but the young man was even crazier. "Are you a genius of the Zhangling Institute?" Tu Chu Xing. At that moment, Tuku Xing roared in anger. After the kiss, Lin Ling turned to look at Tu Chu Xing. He really did not know this gentle-looking young man. As for his background, he was not interested in it. But what he saw was that this prideful generation was humiliating his woman. Courting death. Chu Chu. That's not it. Are you the first generation? Let me tell you. Even if you are the first generation, you have to kneel down before me today. Tu Chu Xing's voice was filled with madness and indifference. Today, I will teach you a lesson not because you stole the beauty of the Heavenly Saint Institute, but because you humiliated us by hugging the beauty of the Heavenly Saint Institute. A martial artist should live by martial arts. Tu Chu Xing said something important at the critical moment. Lin Ling almost laughed. Was that guy qualified to say something like that? I'm sorry. I'm not a genius of the Heavenly Saint Institute. Lin Ling laughed again. Then, the Heavenly Saint Institute became even quieter. They thought that Lin Ling must have some background to be so arrogant. Who knew that he did not belong to any of the three institutes? How could he be so arrogant when he was not a genius? Everyone felt that they had been fooled. Too much. Senior 2, humiliate him. Let him know how powerful you are. Yes, let him know what a great identity is. Angry voices rang out one after another. Tu Chu Xing was stunned for a moment, then he laughed disdainfully. This young man was so humble. How dare he steal his love? He was about to speak, but Lin Ling spoke first. If my girlfriend wants to be a genius of the Heavenly Saint Institute, it should not be a problem for her to get into the Heavenly Saint Institute. Tu Chu Xing wanted to laugh at Lin Ling, but he swallowed his words and looked at Lin Ling in shock. The same went for the crowd. Lin Ling had said that he was not a genius of the 3 institutes, but now he said that he could make Lu Susu a genius of the Heavenly Saint Institute. He must be bragging. Could it be that this guy was bragging in front of a beauty so that he would not lose face? Without any suspense, the crowd's anger turned into laughter. Did I hear it wrong? Tu Tsuxing asked, laughing so hard that he almost fell off his horse. You didn't hear it wrong. I can make my girlfriend a genius of the Heavenly Saint Institute, Lin Ling said seriously. Ha! Tu Chu Xing could not hold it in anymore. Lin Ling, don't fight with them. Lu Susu also thought that Lin Ling was bragging. Although it was her first time in Qingzhou, she knew that the 3 institutes had a deep foundation. They could not be controlled by someone from the myriad world. Tu Chu Xing was a local martial artist, so he might have a chance, but Lin Ling did not even have a 1% chance. I didn't fight with them. Lin Ling said gloomily. Since the Heavenly Saint Institute was begging him to go back, it should not be difficult for him to make such a small request. Don't try to show off. This is not a deal. It's not something you can brag about. The more you boast, the better. Lu Susu rolled her eyes at Lin Ling, which made him even more speechless. Did you see that? This beauty thinks you are bragging. Huh, so this braggart is your boyfriend. Sure enough, hearing about him is not as good as meeting him in person. Hearing Lu Susu's words, Tu Chu Xing could not help but tease her. Suddenly, he turned his eyes and saw a large group of people coming from the distance. They were the people of the Heavenly Saint Institute. This year, the 3 institutes were recruiting geniuses. Since the Heavenly Saint Institute was fighting for geniuses, the Heavenly Saint Institute was not to be outdone. Indeed, there's no time like the present. Let me expose your scam. Tu Chu Xing laughed and then cupped his hands in salute. Elder Xia Ren, Elder Dandelion, it's good that you are here. I would like to ask if the Heavenly Saint Institute recruits geniuses at will. Who are you? An old voice came from afar. I am the 3rd young master of the 2 clan in Lower 3 Ring City. Tu Chu Xing said proudly. He looked at Lu Susu as if he was saying, I will show you my strength. The 3rd young master of the 2 clan. Are you from the Heavenly Saint Institute? The old voice came again, but it was not as cold as before. Chapter 28-22. Even a cripple. That's right. Tu Chu Xing replied proudly. He knew that the other party had given him face. Amazing. An elder of the academy is here for Senior Brother Tuesday. You should know that we are from different academies, and we usually fight in the dark. The fact that an elder of the Resplendent Academy is here for Senior Brother 2 proves that Senior Brother 2's influence is terrifying. Everyone exclaimed. Some of the geniuses who had just arrived here looked at Tu Chu Xing with admiration. They hoped that one day, they would also have such a big face. Since it's Junior Brother 2, I'll give you face. What's the matter? The crowd was separated, and a large group of people arrived. Many of them were from the younger generation, and the 2 leading them were Xia Ren and Dandelion Elder. Lin Ling looked at Xia Ren in astonishment. The last time this old man went to his Yulin market, he begged him to return to the Resplendent Academy. At that time, he was kicked out of the market, and it was very embarrassing. Lin Ling did not expect that the recruitment today would be so majestic. Nothing much. Someone was bragging that he could let any genius enter the Resplendent Academy. Is that true? Tu Tsuxing said with a smile. He knew that something interesting was about to happen. Elder Xia Ren, your Resplendent Academy can't possibly recruit any genius, right? Otherwise, it would be a disgrace to your resplendent academy. Hearing this, the crowd was filled with anticipation. They wanted to see how Lin Ling would be embarrassed after his scam was exposed. Perhaps, that guy would be punished to kneel down and admit his mistake. Lin Ling, should we leave immediately? Lu Susu was extremely worried. She was afraid that Lin Ling's situation would be very miserable with the arrival of the ancient experts of the Azure province. It's okay. Just because they're old doesn't mean they're seniors. Lin Ling smiled and waved his hand. Lu Susu's beautiful eyes narrowed. But, they're the elders of the academy. To her, the elders of the academy were like Mount Tai and Big Dipper. They were people that she could only look up to for the rest of her life. Unfortunately, she did not know that Lin Ling had already made a name for himself in the Azure province. In the past, he would have to raise his head to look up to the elders, but now, he had kicked them countless times. Nonsense. What kind of place do you think our resplendent academy is? Without a certain level of talent, how can our academy recruit you? There was no doubt that Elder Xia Ren was somewhat angry. According to Tu Chu Xing's words, their resplendent academy was somewhat worthless. Hey, I didn't say that. It was said by a junior who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You go and reprimand him. Tu Chuxing gloated and gave the stage to Lin Ling. He wanted to see how Lin Ling would deal with it. Which bastard is it? Elder Xia Ren said in a dignified tone when he saw the large number of geniuses in the surroundings. Moreover, his aged eyes began to scan the surroundings. Who are you calling a beast? However, at this moment, an icy cold voice resounded. The beast cursed you. Elder Xia Ren didn't expect the other party to be so arrogant. His gaze finally locked onto the person who spoke. However, his eyes instantly froze. Beside her, Senior Dandelion was also shocked. Because they didn't expect Lin Ling to be here. So it was a beast who cursed me, no wonder. Lin Ling sneered at Elder Xia Ren. At this moment, the crowd was in an uproar. Because Lin Ling actually dared to ridicule an elder of the Resplendent Academy. He's dead. What a crafty mouth. You cursed an elder of the Resplendent Academy with just a few words. Hey, you've taken advantage of the situation, but how are you going to deal with it now? Tu Chu Xing was obviously more excited. He looked at Elder Xia Ren and said, Elder, he's calling you a beast. He thought that Elder Xia Ren didn't understand the meaning of Lin Ling's words. That's right, I'm a beast. However, Elder Xia Ren was still staring at Lin Ling. However, a sentence that shocked everyone suddenly floated out. Elder Xia Ren actually called himself a beast. Could it be that he didn't understand the meaning of the young man's words? Tu Chu Xing looked as if he had been slapped in the face. He couldn't help but remind Elder Xia Ren again, Elder, he's calling you a beast. That's right, I'm a beast. What? You're not convinced? Elder Xia Ren immediately looked at Tu Chu Xing and said coldly. This. Tu Chu Xing was also dumbfounded. He had never seen anyone call themselves a beast, let alone admit it so straightforwardly. Slap. He even gave himself a slap to see if he was dreaming. But it really hurt. May I ask which senior's disciple wants to go to the Resplendent Academy? Elder Xia Ren looked at Lin Ling and rubbed his hands. One must know that the Dean of the Resplendent Academy had given him a death mission to bring Lin Ling back. Unfortunately, Lin Ling had always been indifferent to him. So, now that he had the opportunity to take the initiative to talk to Lin Ling, how could he miss it? Sensing Elder Xia Ren's gaze, Lin Ling said indifferently, Senior's disciple can't be considered. This beauty beside me is qualified. However, the Resplendent Academy's recruitment is quite strict. I'm afraid she won't be able to enter. May I ask who this beauty is? Elder Xia Ren's chrysanthemum face smiled. Everyone was stunned. What kind of attitude is Elder Xia Ren showing? Isn't he being too polite? My girlfriend. Lin Ling replied. This time, Elder Xia Ren's wrinkled face smiled even more happily. Lin Ling's girlfriend was coming to the Resplendent Academy, which meant that Lin Ling would have a chance to come back in the future. Because even if he hated the dean, he would still come to see his girlfriend. No problem. Even if she's a cripple, the Resplendent Academy will accept her. As the oldest academy in Qingzhou, how can we discriminate against people? As long as the younger generation is passionate about martial arts, we won't miss it. Elder Xia Ren patted his chest and said. Fuck. Damn. That's fine too. Damn. Even a cripple. Damn. This time, the surroundings were in an uproar like a market. Slap. Tu Chu Xing slapped himself again to see if he was dreaming. One should know that his background was not small, and he was a first-generation genius, but he was barely able to get Elder Xia Ren to give him face. However, the young man not only made Elder Xia Ren respectful, but also gave him a big back door. Moreover, the young man's respectful expression made him wonder if the young man was the dean of the Resplendent Academy. However, the young man also said that he was not even a genius of the Resplendent Academy. This time, Tu Chu Xing was completely stunned. Since you're so enthusiastic, I'll reluctantly let my girlfriend go to the Resplendent Academy. But let's make it clear that cultivation resources are not to be neglected. Moreover, she will be a third-generation genius. Lin Ling nodded. Third-generation genius? That's not possible. I want her to be a second-generation genius. If it weren't for my limited position, she would have no problem becoming a first-generation genius. Who would have thought that Lin Ling's request would not anger Elder Xia Ren? Instead, he thought that Lin Ling's request was too simple. Plop. This time, outside the Heavenly Saint Academy, many geniuses fell to the ground. Some of the geniuses who had just arrived fainted. Chapter 28-23. The first generation has arrived. Lin Ling, what's going on? Why is that elder here? Even Lu Susu found it hard to believe. Despite her intelligence, she couldn't understand what was going on. That's not an elder. Hearing this, Lin Ling immediately laughed. Could it be that he's a fake? Lu Susu suddenly guessed. A real elder wouldn't treat Lin Ling like this. He's not a fake, he's real. But in my eyes, he's not an elder, he's an animal. Lin Ling shrugged and said. Lu Susu was stunned and then rolled her eyes. Yes, I'm an animal, a big animal. Yes. However, Elder Xia Ren immediately patted his chest and admitted it. Lu Susu's Hongyan mouth twitched. She was completely speechless. Tu Chu Xing trembled in anger. Although he didn't know what was going on, he was clearly embarrassed. Don't be too arrogant. Becoming a genius is just the beginning. A real genius has to go to Five Ring City and leave Qing Province. Although she can become a genius of the academy, can she go to Three Ring City? Let me tell you, Three Ring City is my territory. She won't have the chance to go there in her lifetime. Do you believe me? Yes. Tu Chu Xing took a step forward and said word by word. Resplendent Academy wasn't his academy, so he couldn't change Elder Xia Ren's decision. But in terms of background, he was confident that he could crush Lin Ling. Yes, becoming a genius of the academy is not a big deal. If you have the ability, go to Three Ring City. Yes. Senior brother too, good job. Yes. The geniuses from the Heavenly Saint Institute quickly flattered. Although Lu Susu was recruited by the Resplendent Institute, they didn't want to be trampled on. In Tuku Xing's generation, it was even more impossible for him to lose to Lin Ling. Hence, he once again used his powerful identity to suppress Lin Ling, including you. May I ask, have you ever been to Three Ring City? Do you know what forces are in Three Ring City? Do you know where the largest Grand Council Hall is? Let me ask you again, have you ever been to Four Ring City? Do you know what the four great divine abodes of the Four Ring City are? I know you're going to say that even if I'm so powerful, I might not have been there. I'm sorry to say this, but I've been to the Four Ring City, the Black Warrior Celestial Manor, the White Tiger Celestial Manor, and the Vermilion Bird Celestial Manor. I've even seen those ancient bloodlines and masters. Tu Tsuxing's voice grew louder and louder, as if he had great ambitions. Pa pa pa. The geniuses of the Heavenly Saint Institute applauded. If they didn't flatter him now, when would they? You must have just become a first-generation member. However, Lin Ling said calmly. That's right, I have indeed just become a first generation. However, don't try to change the topic. Answer me. Tuxing said with a sneer. He did not know what Lin Ling meant, because if he was from the older generation, then he must have seen Lin Ling before. This was because in the battle of the strongest generation, who didn't know Lin Ling? Unfortunately, Tu Tsuxing was obviously a newcomer. Let me tell you, my brother is an first-generation member. Tu Tsuxing did not know what Lin Ling meant. He said proudly, there are only 100 first generations. They never appear in the Institute and only participate in the missions of the Great Qing Divine Dynasty. For example, not long ago at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion to seize the Azure Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal, my brother participated. When the Azure Emperor was removed from the throne, my brother also contributed. This is pride and honor. At the end of his speech, Tu Tsuxing opened his hands, as if he was the one who had created such a record. However, without any suspense, the geniuses around looked up at Tu Tsuxing. They did not expect that Tu Tsuxing's brother would be able to participate in such a big event in Qingzhou. I actually have the opportunity to get close to such a legendary event. For the geniuses from the 10,000 worlds, this was something that was extremely far away. Looking at the admiring gazes around him, Tu Tsuxing's lips curled up and he became even more proud. Tu Tsuxing, didn't I tell you not to tell anyone about this? At this moment, a majestic voice sounded. Then, the clouds in the sky parted and a young man stepped on a 9-colored cloud with his hands behind his back. He arrived majestically. Big brother. Seeing this, Tu Tsuxing was not surprised. Instead, he was overjoyed. His big brother had told him not to tell anyone about the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. However, he was so angry earlier that he had told everyone about it, which led to his big brother's arrival. You can't blame me. Someone is looking down on the Tu family. Tu Tsuxing said hurriedly. The man in the sky looked down at the countless geniuses on the ground as if he was the ruler of the world. His face was calm and he had the demeanor of an expert. Greetings, Senior Tu. A large number of respectful voices sounded in the Heavenly Saint Academy. Even the elders of the academy bowed respectfully. That was because the man was one of the 100 exceptional talents and they would always look up to him. Tu Tsutian. The expressions of Elder Xia Ren and the others changed slightly. Although Tu Tsutian was younger than them, his potential was 100 times greater than theirs. He was an existence that they did not dare to provoke. Xia Ren, you were my senior when I was learning martial arts. I've seen you before. Don't tell me that you're bullying my younger brother today. The man's gaze finally landed on the people from the Resplendent Academy. He thought that the people from the Resplendent Academy were humiliating the Tu family. Elder Xia Ren immediately felt awkward. Clearly, he did not dare to provoke the man. However, he did not dare to mention Lin Ling's name, so he could only chuckle. Brother, it's not him. It's that kid. On the contrary, Tu Tsuxing walked towards the sky with a smile and pointed at Lin Ling as he spoke. At that moment, he was proud. He was very proud. He was the center of attention. In reality, that was indeed the case. No one dared to look down on him anymore. The light of the two families shone everywhere, telling everyone how powerful the two brothers were. It's him. Tu Xiutian also looked at Lin Ling. However, he suddenly frowned because he felt that Lin Ling was very familiar. It's him. This guy looks down on the Tu family. On the side, Tu Xiuxing quickly nodded. Then, he said with admiration, "Kid, do you see him? He's my big brother, one of the 100 exceptional talents." He entered Five Rings City and went to the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. However, Tu Xiutian ignored him and continued to stare at Lin Ling. "Have we met before? Why do I feel that you're so familiar?" At that moment, Lin Ling was also looking at the man. He shook his head and said, "To be honest, you feel very unfamiliar. Perhaps you know me, but I don't know you." As soon as he finished speaking, the square was in an uproar. One of the 100 exceptional talents knew Lin Ling, but Lin Ling did not know him. Could it be that Lin Ling was more famous than Tu Xiuxing's big brother? "Huh, you're boasting again." Tu Xiuxing shook his head helplessly. "Shut up." However, before he could stop laughing, the man beside him shouted coldly, causing Tu Xiuxing's eyes to widen. "May I ask, what is your name?" The more the man looked at Lin Ling, the more familiar he felt. Could he be the legendary figure? "I'm Lin Ling." Lin Ling smiled and finally spat out a sentence. Boom! The man was only stunned for a moment. Then, he shot towards the ground at a crazy speed, causing the ground to crack and dust to spread everywhere. Chapter 28-24. All the important figures had gathered. This scene struck everyone as if they had been struck by lightning. Their minds buzzed. Then, everyone looked at Lin Ling, but they found that Lin Ling was very calm. He was neither happy nor sad, neither arrogant nor humble. This calmness was not an act at all. However, Tu Xiutian was a first-generation talent. His arrival was respected by everyone. Now, he was kneeling before Lin Ling on one knee, but Lin Ling did not react at all. Moreover, why was he kneeling before Lin Ling on one knee? "Brother, this is..." In fact, Tu Xiuxing was the most surprised because he knew how proud his brother was. Not to mention kneeling, even if he wanted his brother to lower his head, it would be impossible. This was also something that was simply impossible. 100 exceptional talents greet the king of exceptional talents, Lin Ling. At this moment, the man said with a trembling voice. Previously, he felt that Lin Ling looked familiar. After receiving Lin Ling's acknowledgement, he was immediately terrified. After all, he had personally seen how powerful Lin Ling was at the Copper Sparrow Terrace. After leaving the Copper Sparrow Terrace, Lin Ling had even killed his page boy in front of the Minister of the Left. Therefore, he knew that this was someone he could not provoke. First-generation king. Isn't that the 81st prince? Hearing that, Tu Xiuxing had the biggest reaction. He almost wanted to slap himself 3 more times. That was because he had heard from his brother that the first-generation king was the strongest genius among the 100 first-generation talents. The most terrifying thing was that he was showing off his experience and background in front of the first-generation king. Slap. He could not help but slap himself. No way, Lin Ling is the first-generation king. In fact, even Elder Xia Ren was shocked. Although he knew that Lin Ling could go to Five Ring City, he did not expect Lin Ling to become the first-generation king in such a short period of time. The first-generation king was not a cabbage that could be found anywhere. Not everyone could do it. Tu Xiuxing, get down here and apologize. The man shouted coldly at the sky. He had thought that someone had offended his brother, but now it seemed that his brother was simply courting death. He had failed to recognize Mount Tai. Brother, I. Tu Xiuxing's heart trembled. He did not dare to say anything. He shot to the ground and knelt before Lin Ling. His mind was gloomy because he had offended such a person. Lin Ling, I heard that you're back, so I came to look for you today. We've been waiting for a long time. But at this moment, a tiger's roar came from the sky. Then, a white tiger as huge as a mountain stepped on the clouds and arrived majestically. Behind the white tiger were a large number of experts, all of whom had cultivation levels that people could not see through. As for the elder above the white tiger, his strength had reached the level of being able to reach the heavens. Are you here for Lin Ling? Is it revenge? However, Lin Ling obviously knew the old man. He immediately cupped his hands and greeted him politely. Oh you're always elusive. My white tiger divine residence wanted to invite you to our residence many times, but you didn't have the time. The old man said with a smile. Of course, you have a lot of things to do, so I understand. However, you have to have a meal with me today. Otherwise, I will feel guilty. The old man had met Lin Ling once in the Fourth Ring City. At that time, he had thought highly of Lin Ling. Now that he knew about Lin Ling's achievements, he was more than happy to call Lin Ling a brother. He's here to invite Lin Ling. When the people saw the old man's courteous manner, they began to guess. The White Tiger Divine Residence. Chu Tsuxing looked up at the sky with a deathly pale face. Weren't they the 4 divine residences of the Fourth Ring City? Before this, he was proud of being able to visit one of the 4 divine residences, looking down on Lin Ling. But now, the divine residence's manor lord was here. Compared to Lin Ling, Chu Tsuxing's identity paled in comparison. Bai Xiaoyang, aren't you being too overbearing? Lin Ling promised us that he would come to my Black Warrior divine residence. But right at this time, a palace floated in their direction. On top of the palace stood a large number of masters. Moreover, upon closer inspection, this wasn't a palace, but a giant divine turtle. Black Warrior Divine Residence. That seems to be one of the 4 divine residences. Are they here to invite Lin Ling again? This time, the Heavenly Saint Institute's geniuses were dumbfounded. Many of them slapped themselves hard to see if they were dreaming. This was because the elusive 4 divine dwellings had actually come for Lin Ling. Of course, even Lin Ling was surprised, but when he saw Xian Linglong standing on top of the divine turtle's shell, he immediately understood what was going on. This Xian Linglong must have told the Black Warrior Divine Residence about what happened at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Therefore, the Black Warrior Divine Residence was extending an olive branch to him. However, this was not the end of the shocking matter. In the west, flames soared to the sky, burning the clouds. Then, a giant vermilion bird flew over with a magnificent tail, shaking the entire Second Ring City. This can't be the Vermilion Bird Divine Residence, right? The corners of people's mouths were trembling, some of them were completely numb. Lin Ling, I heard you obtained the Azure Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal, truly a young hero. This is the first time we meet. This old man is Zhu Fantian, I'm here because of your reputation. On top of the vermilion bird, a tall and sturdy old man clad in a long red robe was looking at Lin Ling with a wide smile. Senior Zhu. Lin Ling was also in disbelief. I dare not call myself senior, but if little friend Lin Ling doesn't mind, you can call me old brother Zhu. The old man said politely, then glanced at the White Tiger Divine Residence's manor lord with a cold sneer. What? You want to snatch Lin Ling from me? What snatch? Everything is first come, first served, we were the ones who got to know Lin Ling first. These old monsters from the Fourth Ring City were at loggerheads with each other. In their opinion, Lin Ling was a member of the Imperial Court, not to mention the fact that he had obtained the Azure Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal. If the new Azure Emperor was born in the future, there was a high chance that he would be related to Lin Ling. Therefore, they naturally wouldn't miss the chance to befriend Lin Ling. Not only did he come in person, he's even trying to snatch Lin Ling. Without a doubt, today's events were like a miracle to these people. Knowing each other is fate. Since that's the case, why don't we all come to my Yulin City Square for a gathering? Since these people gave him enough face, Lin Ling smiled and said. All right. The manor lords of the 3 divine residences nodded. Among them, Bai Xiaoyang looked at the 2 brothers on the ground and asked curiously, these 2 are your friends, right? Since we've met, let's go together. There's no need, there's no need, there's no need. My lords, we really have something to do. The 2 brothers were so scared that their faces turned pale. Even their arrogant big brother looked terrified at this moment. As for the younger brother, Tu Tsuxing, his face was filled with confusion, anxiety, confusion, and even fear. Chapter 28-25. Returning home in glory. Not to mention the 2 brothers, even if their father was here, he could only bow respectfully at this moment. At this moment, he just wanted to slap himself in the face. Why was he so stupid before? Lin Ling just smiled. He didn't teach that guy a lesson because he was too lazy to do so. He held Lu Susu's hand and left. They're so compatible. What's funny is that Tu Kexing actually wants to steal Lin Ling's woman. He's so reckless. That's right. Lin Ling was once the most monstrous genius of the Resplendent Academy. I heard that even the principal of the Resplendent Academy begged Lin Ling to return. They didn't recognize Lin Ling, but the name Lin Ling was like thunder to their ears. The crowd immediately opened up a path for Lin Ling and Lu Susu to leave. Elder Xia Ren kept sucking in a breath of cold air. He never thought that Lin Ling would become so powerful. Fortunately, when he took the initiative to show weakness to Lin Ling didn't hate him as much. Otherwise, even if he had 10 lives, he wouldn't be able to survive in a head-on clash. Moreover, Elder Xia Ren felt like he was dreaming when he recalled the first time he met Lin Ling and the current Lin Ling. In fact, Senior Dandelion beside him was the same. If she remembered correctly, the first time she had met Lin Ling was in the Sword Dao department of the academy. Lin Ling had obtained an Emperor-grade Sword Dao, which had aroused her curiosity. And now, she had to look up to her former disciple. Without any suspense, the entire Heavenly Saint Institute was in an uproar because of Lin Ling. Regardless of whether it was the geniuses of the academy or the geniuses of the myriad worlds who came to learn martial arts, their eyes were burning with passion. They hoped that one day, they would be as proud as Lin Ling. Lin Ling, what happened? As for Lu Susu, she was at a loss. Although she didn't know what was going on, she could see that those respectable existences were very polite to Lin Ling. This made her curious. What exactly did Lin Ling do in Qingzhou? It's just a small matter. Lin Ling replied with a smile. He was already used to all of this. Ha, I thought that after reaching the World King realm, I could be proud in front of you. However, with my little strength, I still don't dare to look at you. Lu Susu said dispiritedly. She could guess that Lin Ling's strength had greatly increased. Lin Ling was simply a monster. Moreover, among all the geniuses from the north, Lin Ling was probably the fastest. Of course, she was also a little proud because such a hero was her boyfriend. Let's not talk about this. You haven't seen Yu and the others for a long time, right? This time, you can catch up. As he thought of Yu and Xian Yuangu, Lin Ling's heart burned with a fiery passion. He quickened his pace and returned to Rainforest City Square. Behind him, the palace masters of the 3 divine palaces followed with smiles on their faces. Although Lin Ling did not treat them very respectfully and treated them as equals, the more this was the case, the more they felt that Lin Ling's future would be extraordinary. My lord, you've returned. Hee, I've heard of my lord's fame in Second Ring City. You seized the Qingzhou Imperial Jade Seal. Hee, you've given us a great deal of face. Isn't that big sister Susu? Wow, it's been a long time. When Lin Ling returned to Rainforest City Square, everyone was in high spirits. The business of the city square grew increasingly large. When the customers saw Lin Ling, they all respectfully bowed. Obviously, they had long heard that the shopkeeper of Rainforest City Square was a capable person. With just a move of his foot, the entire Qingzhou would be shaken. In fact, the current Lin Ling was indeed an ambitious and ruthless person. That night, Rainforest City Square was incomparably lively. People like Sunset Glory, the Grand Secretary, and Vice Principal Gong also came. And now, when they met Lin Ling, they were on the same level as him. Of course, when they were celebrating Lin Ling, Vice Principal Gong also looked at Lin Ling with a bitter expression. It was as if he was brooding over the fact that Lin Ling didn't return to Resplendent Academy. In response, Lin Ling smiled and directly ignored him. Lu Susu's arrival undoubtedly made Yu Yu and Xian Yuangu very happy. The three women left early, and no one knew what they were talking about. The women around my lord are all very beautiful. Tisk, when you reach my lord's height, you can also have them. But I think you won't have any hope in this lifetime. Chess boy, are you looking down on me? Lin Ling's former subordinates used the excuse of being drunk and laughed heartily, making the atmosphere more harmonious. In the following days, Lin Ling accompanied Yu Yu and the others. However, Yu Yu somewhat missed Yu Yu and wanted to go back to her hometown. In response, Lin Ling also missed his hometown, so he nodded and agreed. The next day, he brought Yu Yu and Xian Yuangu to the rainforest sacred land. As for Lu Susu, she had just arrived in Qingzhou, so she also went to Resplendent Academy to learn martial arts. When Lin Ling appeared on the Martial God Road, the two seniors who used to guard this place looked at Lin Ling in shock. If I remember correctly, you haven't even been in the martial god world for 1,000 years. Little guy, you are really surprising. One of the middle-aged men exclaimed. He sensed that Lin Ling's strength had reached the late true immortal realm, and if he remembered correctly, this little guy was only at the World King realm not long ago. I was just lucky. Lin Ling bowed to the latter. Even though his strength had greatly increased, he still couldn't see through these two people. Moreover, he guessed that these two people weren't from Qingzhou, but were from the 9 provinces. This isn't something that can be done by luck. However, our northern territory is really lucky to have such a talent. The middle-aged man smiled and said. He was very fond of Lin Ling. After chatting for a while, Lin Ling also stepped onto the Martial God Road. A moment later, as he smelled the familiar scent and looked at the blue sky, Lin Ling's heart calmed down. Memories of the past also rose up bit by bit. Yu Yu and Xian Yuangu were the same. I missed Dad a little. Xian Yuangu thought of the great Eastern Demon King. Go back. Lin Ling smiled and held the two women's hands as they stepped on the clouds. Right now, he looked like he had returned home in glory. Although he was the only god in the Rainforest Holy Land when he returned, there were still many people he had to be wary of. Now, there were obviously fewer of them. When Lin Ling appeared in the Rainforest Holy Land, the entire place was in an uproar. Ancestor Extreme Flame, Mo Nianchen, Lady Shui Wu, and even the Great Eastern Demon King had all rushed over. For a time, the entire Rainforest Holy Land was bustling with noise. Everyone looked at Lin Ling and the other two who had returned. They were all very excited, especially Yu Yu and Xian Yuangu. They hadn't returned since they left the Rainforest Holy Land. Now that they had returned, Ancestor Extreme Flame, Lin Yi, and the others were undoubtedly very happy. Bang! 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 Chapter 28-26. Fire Spear Realm. On the ground, several figures were thrown down by them. They were the people from the Rainforest Holy Land. According to the agreement, the treasures you have to hand over every year should be handed over today. One of the 5 said with a smile. He was a skinny middle-aged man, and his aura was not weak at all. Seeing this, Lin Ling's face turned cold. He didn't understand what was going on. They are from the Northern Territories' Fire Spear realm. They arrived here 3 years ago and then started to bully us. They want us to hand over a certain amount of treasures every year. Most importantly, they seem to have a powerful backer behind them. It could be seen that they had been bullied quite a bit in the past 3 years. They also wanted to inform Lin Ling, but from the mouths of these outsiders, they knew how powerful these people were. Even Lin Ling couldn't afford to offend them. Therefore, in the end, they still did not dare to tell Lin Ling. In fact, if Lin Ling hadn't coincidentally met them today, they still wouldn't have told Lin Ling. Fire Spear Realm. Lin Ling's face turned even colder. He didn't know this world, but the other party had dared to bully him. They were simply courting death. Ling, don't be rash. They're no small matter. It's said that they're formed by the gathering of several forces, and the mastermind is even someone from the martial god realm. Ancestor Extreme Flame hurriedly pulled Lin Ling back. He wasn't sure how Lin Ling was doing in the Azure province. He wasn't sure if Lin Ling was a match for these massive forces. Moreover, even though Lin Ling was strong, how could he shake the power of a few? Have you finished your discussion? Have you prepared all the treasures? In the sky, those people were still as cold as ever as they spoke with their hands behind their backs. It's ready. Please wait for a moment, sirs. Ancestor Extreme Flame immediately said, his expression somewhat respectful. What an old fart. Hurry up. However, those people seemed to be very impatient. Seeing this, Lin Ling's fury finally erupted. Without explaining anything to Elder Taiyan, he walked toward the sky. Ling, Father. Lord Lin Ling. Immediately, voices rang out one after another. Everyone began to worry. Because as far as they were concerned, those outsiders were extremely formidable. Brat, who are you? Seeing Lin Ling walking towards them, the people in the sky were not afraid at all as they spoke nonchalantly. Alas, these people might be giants to Elder Taiyan and the others, but they were ants to Lin Ling. Therefore, Lin Ling couldn't be bothered to say more. 10,000 swords shot out, sweeping over like an ocean. Not good, this person is very strong. The martial artists of the Fire Spear boundary immediately reacted and unleashed their ultimate skills. However, it was useless. As soon as the ocean of swords appeared, one of them was chopped into pieces. While the other was still in shock, the sword also took his life. So powerful. What kind of sword is that? The remaining 3 people were even more terrified. In their eyes, Lin Ling was already walking over with a huge ancient sword. What is the Fire Spear realm? Lin Ling's sword swept out, and another expert died. On the ground, everyone was shocked. Although they knew that Lin Ling was very strong, they didn't expect him to be this strong. Killing these outsiders was as easy as blowing off dust. The Fire Spear boundary is a powerful boundary in the North Territory. Brat, you dare to kill our people. You're dead. Maybe you'll be happy today, but everyone in the rainforest sacred land will be buried with you. One of the remaining 3 people shouted coldly. In fact, he was also afraid of Lin Ling, so he was afraid of Lin Ling. Nonsense. However, Lin Ling didn't even look at that person. With a slash of his sword, he chopped that person into pieces. You, don't be too arrogant. If the Fire Spear boundary knows about this, they will definitely mobilize their entire boundary. That's right, it's useless even if you kill them. The Fire Spear boundary knows that we came to the rainforest sacred land. If we don't return alive, the Fire Spear boundary will definitely not let you go. The remaining 2 people's faces turned even paler. I'm very unlucky to tell you that even if the Fire Spear boundary doesn't come looking for me, I will go looking for them. The cold smile on the corners of Lin Ling's mouth grew even thicker when he heard those words. Killing intent arose in his heart because the Fire Spear region had touched his reverse scale. Hearing this, the two people's eyes widened. This guy wasn't afraid of the fire spear boundary, but he wanted to take the initiative to come looking for them. They didn't know why, but the more they believed this sentence, the more shocked they were. Could he be the master of this boundary? One of them muttered to himself. He wanted to beg for mercy, but he was already killed by Lin Ling's sword. On the ground, everyone looked at Lin Ling's figure and became excited. For the past 3 years, they had been bullied and humiliated, but when facing the fire spear world, they could only resign themselves to their fate. So when they saw those hateful people from the outside world die, they were instantly overjoyed. Huh, that's great. As expected of father. Soon, there was a burst of laughter from the crowd. However, Amon Yenshin and Elder Extreme Flame looked worried. Kill them, things are a little troublesome. Then, they looked at Lin Ling and said, Ling, quickly return to the martial god boundary. No matter how strong you are no match for the fire spear boundary. In their opinion, it was impossible for one person to fight against an entire boundary. Then, they looked at the crowd and said, the fire spear boundary will definitely send a large number of experts here. Everyone must be on guard. Looking at the serious Elder Extreme Flame and the others, Lin Ling felt a warmth in his heart. What happened in the rainforest sacred land, but his grandfather and the others didn't want to tell him, fearing that he would worry. This made him feel even more guilty. Although Lin Ling didn't know what the fire spear boundary was, nor did he know who was behind this boundary, he would definitely settle this matter with his own hands since he was back. Guard? Why should we guard against it? Tomorrow, I will kill my way over. While everyone was discussing, Lin Ling also said firmly. This time, everyone's mouths were wide open, and they looked at Lin Ling in shock. Lin Ling was going to kill his way over to the fire spear boundary alone. One must know that the fire spear boundary was 100 times stronger than the rainforest sacred land. Don't worry, a mere fire spear boundary, Lin Ling, don't put it in my eyes. Lin Ling said again, letting Elder Extreme Flame see the determination on Lin Ling's face. He couldn't help but ask, Ling, they are the cultivators of an entire boundary, and they have a backer behind them. Grandfather, I don't care who they are, if they dare to invade my homeland, I will kill them. Lin Ling's gaze swept across all the cultivators in the rainforest sacred land, and then he said word by word. That determination and decisiveness finally made everyone's hearts surge. Although they didn't know whether Lin Ling was a match for the fire spear boundary, since Lin Ling had decided to fight, then they would accompany Lin Ling. That night, everyone welcomed Lin Ling's return, bustling with noise and excitement. Lin Ling planned to go to the fire spear boundary tomorrow, so he didn't think too much about it and reminisced with his family and friends. Chapter 28-27. He had arrived at the fire spear world. After talking for a while, Lin Ling suddenly looked at Yu Yu and said. He wanted to let Yu Yu know that their son was going to get married. However, when he asked this question, the entire hall instantly fell silent. This made Lin Ling feel that something was wrong. Isn't your girlfriend Huang Yinger? What's wrong with her? Yu Yu also sensed something ominous. Father, she's home. Lin Yi glanced at Ancestor Tai Yan and the others, then looked at his father and said. The current him was no longer the same as when he was a child. His chiseled face had a hint of determination, and he also had Lin Ling's silhouette. What? Lin Ling frowned. He remembered that Ing, and Yi, were very close, so it was impossible for them to be separated. If they were to be separated, it would be because of external factors. Could it be the fire spear world again? Yu Yu was also enraged. She couldn't hold it in any longer and wanted to forcefully separate a couple from each other. It's not them. It's another huge force. It's said to be from the martial god realm. Lin Yi looked at Yu Yu and said. His clear eyes were moist. After Huang Yinger left, he forced a smile in front of everyone, but only in the dead of night would he miss her. However, he was Lin Ling's son. How could he show his weak side? Therefore, he had never mentioned this matter. However, no matter how strong he was, he still became weak after seeing his father. He only wanted to vent the depression in his heart because his father was also his only sky. Bang! Lin Ling slammed his palm on the table, his expression turning even colder. Tell me what happened. Father, is not from the rainforest Holy Land. I met her when I was training. Half a month ago, someone from her family came and took her away by force. They seemed to want her to marry the young master of another huge force. Lin Yi said word by word, Father, it's all my fault. I couldn't protect her. Is a good girl. However, her background is not small, so it's none of your business. But don't worry, as long as still likes you, I'll bring her back to you even if she's at the end of the world. After learning the whole story, Lin Ling stepped forward and stroked the back of Lin Yi's head. He knew that during this period, Lin Yi had been forcing himself to be strong. It wasn't that Lin Yi was too weak. The main thing was that his opponents weren't from the rainforest Holy Land. Confrontation. What's more, the ones who took away were people from her family. Lin Yi naturally could not object. Thank you, father. Lin Yi said excitedly. When he thought of the scene that day, his eyes turned red. That day, people from Er's family came. When they learned about my relationship with they only felt disdain. They said that the rainforest Holy Land was not worthy of her. They even said that we were from the countryside. I'll tell them whether they're worthy or not. Hearing this, Lin Ling's face became even colder. As a father, he was also extremely protective. He wanted to see how powerful Er's family was. Then do you know where they came from? Lin Ling asked again. They said that I was not qualified to know. But that day, people from the fire spear boundary were also there. Perhaps they might know because they were very respectful to Er's family. Lin Yi said. Well, I'll go to the fire spear boundary tomorrow to ask. Lin Ling had also made up his mind. Seeing that Lin Ling had returned and dominated everything again, Ancestor Tai Yen, Mo Nianchen, and Lin Yi's relatives were very gratified, especially Ancestor Tai Yen and Mo Nianchen. They did not expect that Lin Chen's son would still be able to withstand the storm of the rainforest Holy Land today. The next day, Lin Ling left and said, at most 3 days, at least 1 day, I'll be back. This sentence made the people of the rainforest Holy Land excited. Lin Ling was going to face a boundary, and he planned to solve it in 3 days. That was too domineering. Go, and I will take care of the family. Yu and the others were not weak. At this moment, they smiled at Lin Ling. Lin Ling nodded and disappeared from the rainforest Holy Land at the speed of 7 realms. The North Territory was vast and boundless, and it had endless ancient myths. As for where the fire spear boundary was, Lin Ling really did not know. However, he could find the martial artists who were wandering in the Northern Territory and ask them, and he would know. Of course, there were not many warriors wandering in the North Territory, and Lin Ling only found 3 with great difficulty. The 3 of them were not weak, and had reached the 5th level of the true God realm. In the North Territory, every one of them was an existence that dominated everything. 3 sirs, please wait. Time was tight, and Lin Ling did not have time to be courteous. He stopped the 3 of them. The 3 of them were talking, and suddenly being stopped, they were in a bad mood. What do you mean? One of the old men said coldly. Let me ask you a place. Do you know where the fire spear boundary is? Lin Ling said indifferently. Are you crazy? You stopped us just to ask such a small question. Before the old man could speak, a middle-aged man wearing a jade crown frowned. It was obvious that his background was not small. He was the master of a boundary, or even 10 boundaries. Hee hee. Lin Ling laughed, and the 7 boundaries' speed exploded. He instantly appeared in front of the middle-aged man and grabbed him. This attack was very fast, like thunder and lightning. After grabbing the middle-aged man's neck, the other party could not resist at all because that was the power of 50 boundaries. At this moment, the 3 of them were terrified, knowing that they had met an expert. Senior, the fire spear boundary is in the east. I went there once in the past and left a boundary mark. I will give it to you immediately. The middle-aged man said hurriedly, I hope Senior will spare my life. Now, they did not have the arrogance from before. Lin Ling nodded, and the middle-aged man immediately handed Lin Ling a jade slip. Many boundaries of the North Territory were recorded in it. As long as they had explored before, the location was extremely clear. Thank you. After receiving the boundary mark, Lin Ling disappeared instantly. The 3 of them stood there dumbfounded, thinking that Lin Ling was going to harm them. Until Lin Ling disappeared, they were sweating profusely. How strong, I can't see through his strength at all. Yes, and most importantly, he is very young. He hasn't cultivated for more than 2,000 years. When did such a powerhouse appear in the North Territory? They spoke one after another. After a moment of lingering fear, they quickly left. And at this time, Lin Ling was rushing towards the fire spear boundary. After half a day, he finally arrived. He discovered that the fire spear boundary was more than twice as large as the rainforest Holy Land. Moreover, there were many powerhouses here, all of them at the World King realm. No wonder the fire spear boundary was so arrogant. This was because the rainforest Holy Land had no more than 10 world kings. Chapter 28. Walking right into a trap. Master of the fire spear world. A true immortal realm expert, no wonder he's so arrogant. Lin Ling's soul power was the strongest in the world, but that bit of strength was nothing to Lin Ling. At this moment, in the fire spear world, rolling flames were burning on the ground. A large number of experts were gathered here, and they were all looking at a tall and sturdy middle-aged man. This person was wearing fire armor, and he was imposing without being angry. That kind of strength made it difficult for the surrounding people to breathe. Hunter World, the treasures you handed in this year didn't reach the standard. Do you want to make the Fire Spear Emperor angry? An old voice sounded in the hall, causing the expert from the Hunter World to tremble. He hurriedly said, within a month, the missing treasures will be delivered to our door. I hope the Fire Spear Emperor won't take his anger out on our Hunter World. Clearly, this martial artist was also being coerced. At this moment, he was also frightened. Okay. The old man looked at the Fire Spear Emperor with his eyes closed, and he nodded. He then looked at a thin youth on the other side and said, Dragon Change World, what about the treasures you have to hand in this year? Give, in 3 days. The youth originally didn't want to give, so he personally came to the Fire Spear World to see how powerful the experts here were. However, after seeing clearly, he didn't dare to not give. Moreover, he laughed bitterly in his heart. Because after opening a door, their Dragon Change World also had to hand in treasures every year. At least you know what's good for you. The old man nodded again. His gaze swept across the experts from various worlds, and he said indifferently, according to the news, the Rainforest Holy Land refused to hand in treasures and killed our people. They've already violated a great taboo. Hearing this, everyone's face changed slightly. They had heard of the Rainforest Holy Land, but this world wasn't very strong. Who knew that the other party dared to kill people from the Fire Spear World? They were dead. Our Fire Spear World doesn't like to do things that anger the heavens and people, but rules are rules, and no one can violate them. Therefore, the entire Rainforest Holy Land will be destroyed, and this world will also be destroyed. The old man said again. This was to make an example out of them. Sure enough, the experts from various worlds were all shocked. The entire world will be destroyed. Was this the consequence of refusing? But right at this moment, the entire fire spear world suddenly shook and fell into chaos. Immediately after, a martial artist rushed into the main hall in a sorry state and shouted, "Not good, the Rainforest Holy Lands people have killed their way into the fire spear world and want to see the fire spear emperor." As soon as he finished speaking, the entire hall fell into a deathly silence. Even the fire spear emperor opened his eyes at this moment, and a wisp of white flames flickered within his eyes. "Why are you so agitated? Tell me, how many people did they send?" The old man knew that the fire spear emperor was in a bad mood, so he quickly asked. The old man bitterly smiled and looked at the fire spear emperor. "Only one person." "What?" At this moment, the entire hall was filled with cries of surprise. The Fire Spear world had countless powerhouses, and World King realm powerhouses were as numerous as the hairs on an ox. Moreover, there were even true Divinity realm powerhouses. Yet, the other party had only sent a single person. If it wasn't for the anxious look on the person's face, they would have thought that he was joking. Pang pang pang. But at this time, the main hall's doors were smashed open and several figures rushed in, their faces filled with panic. "Your Majesty, this is bad. That person has killed his way in. In the entire Fire Spear Empire, no one can stop him." At this time, even the Fire Spear Emperor's complexion changed. This was because the one who spoke was one of his generals, a third-level true Divinity realm powerhouse. "What is his strength? You have over 20 true Divinity realm powerhouses, yet you can't stop a single person." The Fire Spear Emperor finally spoke. "We can't stop him. His speed is too fast and his sword is terrifying. With a single sword, a true Divinity realm powerhouse can be chopped apart like vegetables." The person immediately replied. As these words fell, everyone's complexions changed once more. When had such a terrifying powerhouse been born in the Northlands? Moreover, this powerhouse came from the Rainforest Holy Land. This made them feel as if they were dreaming. Have all the true Divinity realm powerhouses return? I don't believe that someone from a mere backwater world can shake our world. The Fire Spear Emperor didn't dare to underestimate this newcomer and coldly said, "Yes." Everyone received their orders and hurriedly passed down the message. On the other hand, a cold smile appeared on the corners of the Fire Spear Emperor's mouth. Presently, there were emissaries from all the worlds here, so their Fire Spear world absolutely couldn't lose face. Otherwise, who would hand over treasures in the future? Moreover, even though that person's strength wasn't bad, he didn't believe that person could stop all the true Divinity realm powerhouses of the entire Fire Spear world. So, he was waiting for that person to walk right into the trap. "Your Majesty, what happened?" "What? Someone charged into the Fire Spear world?" After a short moment, numerous domineering voices resounded, and then numerous figures instantly appeared in the hall. They were the true Divinity realm powerhouses that had received the order to come here. If one looked carefully, there were over 100 of them. This caused the emissaries from all the worlds to gasp. As expected of the Fire Spear world's deep reserves. All the experts of the world have gathered here. It saves me the trouble of searching everywhere. However, right at this moment, a voice resounded in the sky, and it was like a thunderclap that resounded in everyone's ears. Rumble. After that, the roof of the entire grand hall was forcefully lifted open, and a figure in a blue and white robe floated down. Moreover, to everyone's surprise, this person was very young. However, the Fire Spear Emperor laughed instead, and his smile was very cold. "Kid, you know that there's a tiger in the mountain, yet you still go there. I have to say that you've already fallen into our trap." Although he was surprised by this person's age, they had gathered all the experts of the Fire Spear world, so they weren't afraid at all. "You're still too inexperienced. The old man beside the fire spear emperor laughed sinisterly at this moment. As for the true divinity realm experts gathered in the hall, they revealed playful smiles as well. This young man seemed to not know that he was already a ferocious tiger trapped in a large net, and no matter how ferocious he was, he couldn't break free from it. Shockingly, this person was Lin Ling. He looked at the sneering crowd and suddenly understood what they meant. This caused him to reveal a cold smile. Looks like you still don't understand who's the prey. As soon as he finished speaking, icy cold killing intent started to spread out. Under everyone's gazes, an ocean of swords appeared and transformed into an enormous ancient sword, and then the young man carried it on his shoulder. This scene was undoubtedly extremely shocking. Even the fire spear emperor was secretly surprised, and he licked his lips as he stared at the sword. This sword, I want it. He could clearly see that the sword was extraordinary. Your Majesty, I'll take it for you. One of the men with a violent temper directly attacked at this moment. You want my sword? Fine, it's yours. Lin Ling's eyes flashed with a playful light, and the giant sword in his hand was thrown over. Boom! You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.